at the bottom of the ocean. Don't know if I'll make it back home.
And welcome here tonight to the Upsurge Junior League Championships, the finals, if we will say. 24 teams entered into the spring split and only two remain right here, right now, and they will see who is going to have what it takes to come out on top in the specified series. My name is Orbital. I'm joined here by Random Minion Caster, and we will be taking you through what will potentially be a very long or very short series, depending on how these teams want to play. RMC, how are you doing?
I'm doing well tonight here, Orbital, and I love the fact that you point out it could be either very long or very short. Because with the two teams we've got tonight, we've got Cloud Dragon Esports, who we saw last week in the semifinals on stream, and we've got Goth Boy Clique, who we saw 2 weeks ago in the quarterfinals, where Goth Boy Clique has been stomping the playoffs, 3-0ing in the semis, 2-0 for the most part in the playoffs. And then you've got Cloud Dragon Esports, who dragged us to a full 5 games. And that last game was what, a 30, 40 something minute game, was it, Orbital?
Yeah.
It was a long series here. So very, very different styles of play.
Yeah, and I mean to say that these teams have also not overcome adversity is one of the I feel like that's an understatement, right? So taking a look at the bracket that some of the teams that they have fought off, Cloud Dragon Esports specifically took down two different Wichita Wolves squads, Wichita Wolves Silver and Wichita Wolves Gray, which I think, in my opinion, is very, very telling of how resilient they are. On the flip side, you have Gothboy Clique, who actually took out, I think, last split's finals contender in UST Absolute Zero. So both these teams know what it's like to face up against extremely strong opponents. So I mean, it could, I feel, go either way.
Yeah, and on top of that, too, it's interesting because last week, the Wichita Wolves Gray, which we saw Cloud Dragon take out, that was the number 1 seed from the Ocean Division, and Goth Boy Clique is the number 2 seed. Goth Boy Clique, when we saw them in the quarterfinals, took out the number 1 seed from the Mountain Division. So these are technically second seeds, but I don't think anybody's surprised to see them here. They played really well in the regular season. They made some mistakes, which is why they were second here. In the playoffs, they've cleaned it up a lot. They've taken out the first seed, so should be very, very interesting. And the matchup specifically here, my eyes are drawn towards the bot side because we've seen both the AD carries really step up and perform really well. Louis Vuitton here for Cloud Dragon Esports and Eler Quoth for the side of Goth Boy Clique. If you don't pay attention to them, they just take over a game here.
Yeah, it's the silent assassins of the bottom lane, and when ADCs can do that in a meta where it's always kind of been ADC lol, funny times, and they get burst 100 to 0. It's refreshing to see a team be able to carry out the back of an ADC role, and then add on to that Snickers MVP and Nahor both have had stellar moments as well. These guys have been no slouches to help their ADCs be able to get the strength they need to help carry on and win some of these games.
Yeah, Nahor being the team captain has a very, very loud voice in terms of how they like to move, what they're going to go do, what objectives are they going to contest. And for the side here of Cloud Dragon Esports, I don't know if Snickers is necessarily the shot caller, but Snickers is Snickers MVP for a reason. I mean, the engage, the disengages, the ability to protect the AD carry, those are absolutely massive. For both of these teams. And now, Orbital, I had a chance to actually speak to the teams and sort of get their idea of what's going on, how tonight's going to be played out. And Goth Boy Clique, they're confident. They've just been stomping things. They were just kind of like, okay, tonight, another day, we're just going to pull another 3-0. Easy peasy, same as always here. And when I spoke to Cloud Dragon Esports, I was telling them they gave me a heart attack last time. Their response was, get your heart meds ready, old man, because looks like we might, they're looking for the grind here on the side of Cloud Dragon Esports.
I don't know if that's a heart attack or, snooze test, whatever you want to call it. I mean, by game 5, you have to think these guys are wary, and considering that Cloud Dragon Esports have gone the distance already in a full 5-game series, right? I want to ask, this is pretty much a minor question, of course, but do you feel that might give them an edge if it does go to that 4th or 5th game in terms of strategy, in terms of stamina, in terms of kind of just the general mindset that might come along with pushing it to a game 5?
I mean, at this point, I can only assume we've not seen Goth Boy Clique pushed at all pretty much here throughout the regular season, throughout the playoffs. So we know Cloud Dragon definitely can do it. They bounced back from some really rough games against Wichita Wolves Gray. I think they won game 2, 4, and 5 here. So they won the latter games. They're definitely experienced. So if nothing else, I think they've got the experience advantage of maybe not the stamina advantage here.
Yeah, and now we've talked about how the bottom lanes for both these squads have kind of been the stars for them, and we've seen some shining lights from other sides, but at the same time, we've also seen some not so great plays. There is a reason that it went 5 games for Cloud Dragon Esports. Is there a lane or are there some players that you want to kind of keep your eyes on in terms of possibly being a weaker link than the others, and we might want to see step up in terms of this series?
Ooh, weaker links. Let's start with Cloud Dragon Esports because we saw them more recently. And Rainy
Mhm.
Day, I just remember that Fiora Kled game we saw where Fiora is supposed to dominate that matchup from start to finish, and Kled just ran right over Rainy Day. I know Rainy Day is a great tank player, but prefers the carry. So I'm looking for the top side. Do we get a redemption story from Rainy Day? And for the side of Goth Boy Clique here, you know, So Toxic's champion pool has been a little bit smaller. I don't know if it can be exploited here, and I want to see if maybe we get So Toxic's champion pool targeted and then forced on a less comfortable champion, and then maybe that could be a potential place that Cloud Dragon Esports could look at to exploit.
All right. Well, we do have our opinions, of course, but we'll have to wait and see what the teams think, as well as we are into the pick and ban phase here. So we will have on the blue side, I believe it is Gothboy Clique coming out, and they will start over on that side. So you can already see the Cosmics banned away. On the flip side, Cloud Dragon Esports went ahead, banned out the Nocturne. We've seen it again and again. Obviously, flex between the top, jungle, and mid. Just don't want to deal with that champion in any capacity.
Yeah, and it's also, as in terms of jungle picks for So Toxic, remember how I was talking about pinching that champion pool? So Toxic has only really played Olaf, Diana, Nocturne for the most part here. So if you take away that Nocturne here, I'm thinking maybe you ban out the Olaf, push them towards the Diana if you've got an answer there, or you ban out the Diana, put So Toxic onto the Olaf here, which is definitely punishable if you've got a game plan coming in.
Yeah, well, another champion that you might have to throw consideration in is that Nautilus, right? A champion that is, in my opinion, fairly simple to play, fairly simple to learn, and has kind of risen in that jungle role. But of course, we did see the Thresh and the Zoe banned away by Gothboy Clique. A Jinx and Shen were to follow over for Cloud Dragon Esports, and that does leave the Tristana open. Of course, the Rumble is still open, Diana, Morgana, and all these other champions. So, of those priorities, Tristana will be going into the hands of Ellervoth.
Yeah, most likely here, we'll have to see if they do opt to flex it into the mid lane position. Tristana can technically still go there here, so I don't want to necessarily cut that off. It's still a flex pick. Seraphine coming through for Cloud Dragon Esports here. Another flex pick that we can see flex around. I've seen it, I think, more into the support role nowadays here with how aggressive the mid lane goes, and with that Moonstone Renewer buff as well. It does feel like building that supportive style is better right now than just building straight AP with that Leandries or with that Ludens.
And of course, putting priority on it. I think we did see it in game 3 for Cloud Dragon Esports. They actually threw it to the mid, but oh, this is what I was excited for. The Kog'Maw, or what some people have effectively dubbed it, Tank Maw, might be making its way into this game.
My goodness. Juggermore, Tankmaw, Kog'Maw has just come up in priority so much here, and a lot of it has to do with the laning as well. You pair it with an Enchanter support. If you got an Enchanter mid here, you just kind of run down a lane. And one of the interesting builds I've seen more recently is the Boots build. You come out of base with Boots and 4 pots for the Kog'Maw here, and you just trade very heavily right away. The moment the game starts, you try and take control of that lane.
Just one of the few that has innate shredding ability, right? You land most of your abilities, you get the slow down, you can trade at least 4 or 5 autos fairly reliably. And so to get away from that potential CC, from the slows, from the roots, Olaf has actually been picked up by Gothboy Clique, and would you know it, they might be going hard. Nope, swapped immediately from the tanky Braum to a much more supportish Lulu for that Tristana potentially in the bot lane.
Yeah, and I like the Lulu's pickup so much here. You're not only picking it for the Olaf here, wild growth with Olaf, the speed up, help picks, all that's great here. You can charge it to the back line with nothing really stopping you, but you also deny it away from that Kog'Maw here. Generally, Juggermore requires about 2 shields on your side to really make it come online, and Lulu is just one of those big picks. Karma fits the bill as well, so most likely, I mean, potentially Seraphine mid, Karma bot with that Kog'Maw here.
Yeah, and now I'm assuming that we're going to see, I think, Serpent's Fang come out for someone on either side. Yeah. That would be, I would hope so, right? That and Grievous Wounds, 2 items that will most likely be picked up. And immediately that's the call down, right? Hey, don't allow this Corki, which is also seen a high priority in play. You know, another ADC that can be rolled and another ADC that can shred through shields, healing so quickly. So banned away. Following the Viego is the Rumble. So now targeting that mid jungle. Seems to be the opinion.
Okay, I'm a little bit surprised that the Rumble ban actually came out from the side of Cloud Dragon Esports here. I mean, you haven't picked the jungler yet. And for the side of Goth Clique, they already locked in that Olaf. So you're banning away a Rumble mid is what it looks like. The Corki makes sense to me. And Viego Cho'Gath taken off the table. Gwen's still available right now. If the side of Cloud Dragon Esports wants to pick it up, it is such a strong champion. Now that, you know, the LCS is starting up, a lot of the regional leagues are starting up, we're seeing a lot of Gwen come through.
Yeah, just a champion that some people have dubbed the most annoying champion to play against, and some the healthiest seamstress on the Rift, next to Orianna, which is more just, you know, the clockwork lady himself. And of course, now we do see the Malphite being locked in. I like this pickup again. That will most likely go to Rainy Day up in the top side. We have said that Rainy Day does fairly well on the tanks, although it's a little bit boring. Still a solid pickup.
Yeah, and that tells me right now that Cloud Drake Esports, they're not messing around. They're not risking it here because Rainy Day likes to play those carries, has done questionably on it, but usually they let Rainy Day try that out a little bit before they put them right onto the tank duty. For the side of Gothboy Clique here, they feel they don't need a true tank with that wild growth available. Silas Wukong locked in here, and regardless what they opt to send mid, I'm assuming it's the Silas here, that Seraphine, that Karma, they're not really going to have a fun time in that solo lane.
Nope, not at all. And, you know, to follow out the Kayn, a champion that I think, again, is another champion that we've seen the jungle for the side, excuse me, the side of Cloud Dragon Esports attempt to use. It wasn't the greatest so far. I think the Kayns we've seen have kind of bottomed out in terms of how quickly they can get their form, right? And maybe 15, 16 minutes into the game. So hopefully a bit faster this time around.
Yeah, especially when you're into an Olaf. I think the last time we saw it, I can't remember. I think it was a Morgana that they were running it into there. So, you know, being a little slow in the early game didn't matter too much. Your ganks are still going to be fine. Yes, you're lacking a little bit of damage, a little bit of tankiness. Not the end of the world. Against an Olaf, though, Olaf is going to be picking up the pace of the game. Olaf is not a late game champion, has to have impact early here. And if your Kayn can't match that, if you are stuck without form here, that is a major disadvantage to a team that will want to scale up with that Kog'Maw.
Of course, you do have to keep focus here. And now taking a look at the lanes, of course, the kind of basic bottom lane, you were kind of pointing it out before. Between the jungle and mid, which I feel are the two that I have a lot of questions about, is there one that you might feel we have to kind of keep watch of? Is it going to be more jungle focused, or maybe the mid lane will see the most action?
Mid lane definitely gonna be a little spicy. It will be more on Cloud Dragon Esports to play passively into the Silas or the Wukong here. And the reason why I'm still not locking it in is because Silas is a great matchup into the Malphite, and Wukong does great into Seraphine here. So I just want to confirm that before we call that one. But either way, it's still going to be kind of rough, kind of spicy. And the jungle, I'm watching the jungle more than anything else for Gothboy Clique, because the Olaf, like I said, has to make tracks early here, especially into the likes of a Kog'Maw. So I'm expecting to see the lanes assist in invades or set up really strong ganks, or just dogpile into the bot lane here. You've got a Tristan in the bot lane for Gothboy Clique. The explosive shot means that you trade better than the Kog'Maw early in short trades here. And when you throw ganks down, a lot of times it's not about the extended damage. It's more about how much burst can you put down, how quickly can you pop the squishy target here.
Finally, I do, as we go ahead and wind down the rest, and I'm about to go to a very short break, I want to get your opinion here, RMC, and I don't ask it very often, but this one I think is going to be great in terms of just kind of the 5-to-5 head-on, you know, team fight collision here. It seems both teams have drafted that kind of style to show up. So is there a team that you feel kind of leans and is more well-rounded in terms of team fight composition, or do you think they are both fairly squared away and even in that regard?
Well, I think for the side of Cloud Dragon Esports, the moment you started building that Juggernaut comp, that's definitely not an even composition. You know exactly what your win con is. It's keep the Kog'Maw alive. And personally, I'm not a fan of what I call one-dimensional compositions, where you've got one really big win con here. It's effective, but I generally don't favor it. So for that reason, I favor the Gothboy Clique composition a little bit more here in game one.
Yeah, just a little bit more spread out in terms of if they need to go into that split push diagonal, you know, kind of that category, they can go ahead and do it. If they want to do the team fight category, they can do it as well. So a really nice mix of both versus just pull the trigger, send the cannon straight down mid, and hopefully a ram to save your life. We'll see what they decide to do. And of course, this is just game number 1, a potential for other games to follow. And this is what they choose to open with. I'm excited. I hope you guys at home are excited as well. So we will go to a very short break to ensure a quality broadcast for you. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with game 1 between Goth Boy, Clique, and Cloud Dragon Esports. And we are back with in the first game, of course. Game number 1 is live here, and let's go ahead and run down our rosters. On the blue side today is going to be Gothboy Clique coming out strong. It is going to be Rappy Smacks in the top lane. In the jungle, So Toxic. In the mid lane is I'm Yoshishi. ADC is Elir Voth. And at support, Nahor.
And on the red side, it's Cloud Dragon Esports here with Rainy Day in the top lane, Xiao Giao 88, hereby referred to as Xiao in the jungle, Big Fat Bobkins in the mid lane, Louis Vuitton 7 as AD carry, and Snickers MVP as support.
Yeah, and of course, we are back on your screen, of course, as we double check everything and make sure it is all set. Yeah, you got to see our pretty faces just for a little bit longer. You know, not so pretty on my end, but of course, RMC, the most handsomest color caster I've been with, of course, and it's awesome to be able to cast with him, of course. Now, I believe we are back into the game, and funny story, I think Zhao actually flashed, so yeah, that's something to keep eyes on.
Okay, yeah. Didn't quite catch how or why that happened.
I think he got scared by Rainy Day specifically. He was walking around and is just like, all right.
I mean, Rainy Day's on his team. Like, why are you scared about the Malphite here, bro?
Listen, I'm scared of a Malphite. Have you ever seen a Malphite on your team miss his ultimate? It is the most terrifying thing ever. You're just like, I don't want to be anywhere close to you. So, you know, might be the same thing.
Fair enough, fair enough. But losing the flash has not deterred Xiao at all. Is already invading aggressively into the jungle here, while all the lanes are kind of even, kind of trading. So a bit of a risky move, but I think he's going to get away with it.
Yeah, well, this is specifically because it looks like he didn't take any of his buffs. He is going straight clearing the camps. He's going to go get his buffs later. And that is such, I don't think I've seen such an aggressive Kayn before. Usually you still want to get, you know, all those buffs and make sure you're a little bit propped up. But this is straight up trying to hit level 3 off of the experienced lead and then just gank and might be looking at the bot lane.
I don't understand this path. Raptors to Krugs here. You didn't even take away the enemy red buff. So you're under level. You didn't 3 buff and you're in a bad spot where you potentially can get collapsed on here. Is gonna get out, but if I were So Toxic right here, I mean, you're looking to potentially just double crab at this point. Yes, you lose some jungle experience, but if you can get both the crabs, it's worth.
And I mean, extra experience, you know, be able to get a little bit more venue for your squad. You can take a look. Level lead So Toxic is up, and we actually saw an early recall coming out of Louis Vuitton and Snickers on the bot side, and that's actually to pick up the coals. So immediately Louis Vuitton saying this bot lane, it's going to be a snooze fest. I'm Kog'Maw, might as well start stacking up the gold.
True. And we were talking a bit about the, you know, boots for pot start. This is not what Louis Vuitton's opting for. You're against the Tristana, you need the extra health here, so opting for that Duran's Blade to start the cull as well. This bot lane is going to be a non-interactive bot lane from the side of Cloud Dragon Esports. They just want to sit back. They want to farm, and they don't want to trade with the Tristana, with the Lulu on the other side.
And I still feel that does benefit Elir Voth and Nahor a little bit, right? You are a Tristana. You are okay kind of scaling towards that mid to late game. Yes, you might not be able to challenge as hard, but still the burst damage is going to be very, very strong. Now we do see a little bit of an invade coming out of So Toxic, so he was able to see it, but bot lane. Exhaust being used early from Elir Voth saying, hey, I was in danger. Now we do see Bobkins and Zhao going ahead, getting dueled on a little bit, but I think it was a little bit rooted out. Now Yoshishi is going to eat a lot of damage, has to get the Kingslayer up. Ignite goes down, and So Toxic is happy about this trade. This might be the first kill. Remember, he doesn't have flash. No, that is going to be the flash difference, ladies and gentlemen. Zhao going down for first blood.
Yeah, the flash that we didn't understand what happened, didn't see it, is coming back to bite him. And I want to point out in that fight as well that So Toxic was a level down, was level 3 to Xiao's level 4, and that's just the difference between an Olaf and a Kayn.
What we see a jump in coming out from Elir, and of course that was going to be the exhaust coming out of Snickers MVP. So trades across the board, we are seeing you know, Gothboy Clique really putting on the pressure, hopefully around the map. Now we see So Toxic. He is chasing under the tower. They're full on going for this dive. Yeah, it's just going to be an automatic flash out and flash in, depending on who you're chasing. But Rappy's Max is going to go down, and now So Toxic is going to get the tower shot on him too. That is going to be 2 kills on the top side. Pretty much deja vu from back in the semifinals. Now Yoshishi is running for his life. Might get tagged by 2. Yes, he does, and that's going to be Bobkins on the Seraphine mid, picking up Silas's life.
Oh, bro, going. We just saw action mid, bot, mid, like just everywhere right now, and we're only in game 1, guys. It's a best of 5 tonight. You don't have to be this flashy, but the teams are hyphy, and you know what? We've had mid, bot, top, mid, bot again. Let's go.
All right, Snickers said, "Yeah, I want to keep fighting. One more auto attack. You die with nothing in hand." That was, I feel a little bit too aggressive what Snickers tried to do. Flashed a little bit late, so a kill going over to Eller Voth here on the bot side. First one on the bot side because all of the action has been mid and top.
Question stepping up like that, right? Like your AD carry, your Kog'Maw went Duran's Blade, call. Louis Vuitton's not going to be able to match the damage. Yes, you're an item up, but it's a call. It's 7 attack damage. It really doesn't matter here, and it just the burst is too good. And after all said and done, after that burst of action here, we're 3-3, pretty much dead even, just ever so slight lead for the side of Goth Boy Clique, and that's pretty much just first blood gold.
I've never felt like there should be a goal discrepancy more than right now. Like with all the action that happened, you're like, one side should be 6-0 or something of the sort, and yet it came from just I have to say it, kind of a horrendous tower dive, right? Very, very forced, very low level, and you just try and take the tower dive, doesn't work. You end up losing 2 on the top side, and that's exactly how Rainy Day got a lead before. And now we're going to see Yoshishi in that mid lane. He does have flash available, but doesn't need to. Just a simple dash out. He's going to keep himself alive against 3. Rainy Day feeling the might of the staff in his face, as no one is prepped for this dragon.
It is up. It is Ocean Drake as well. We're 7 minutes in, and yeah, both teams kind of just not really looking at it. And I'm looking at the jungler specifically, because if So Toxic are not there, the teams aren't going to even try and attempt it. Now we're seeing Xiao path down a little bit, but the lane's not in a favorable state. You kind of need to gank that bot side, and there are wards right now, so it's difficult to try and find the right angle for this.
Not just that, it's double pink ward, opting to sink 150 gold so early on to ensure the Kayn doesn't have early access into that bottom lane. I think is a smart play, considering how aggressive Eller, Voth, and Nahor are wanting to play, right? The amount of times we've seen Eller kind of rocket jump directly on top of someone's face has been more than I've seen even from mid lane Tristanas. So very, very dangerous.
Safer than mid lane Tristana though. You've got the Lulu to back you up here, so you know you win that if you can get in there. And props to Louis Vuitton right now for out CSing, despite being in a worse position, a more dangerous position here. Xiao did tag the dragon up a little bit here, and this rotation from Snickers and Louis Vuitton here will signal that they are on the dragon.
Yeah, and unfortunately the collapse from Yoshishi is just a bit quicker. Looks like it will be CDE deciding they don't want to fight it, and GBC are going to try their best. Now they're calling in a teleport. This is going to be a big fight. Encore is used on flip sides, but the original Encore is that much stronger. Eller Voth, though, is going to get the first kill. Out they go. Wukong straight into the backline. Louis Vuitton taking very, very low, and that will be the ADC down. Now it's going to be a cleanup fight from Goth Boy Clique as they go ahead and secure so many lives. Over the wall goes the assassin, Louis Vuitton. He is going to pick up 1 in that fight. Let's see if we can get another. Rainy Day is not going to allow that to happen, but a 4-for-1 team fight on that bottom side is a ridiculous number to have.
Really, really solid engage coming out from the side of Goth Boy Clique. They're punishing immediately, knowing that they were stronger here with their Tristana compared to that Kog'Maw, and as well with Yoshishi and Rappy Smacks. Yes, Unstoppable Force, great tool. A lot of base damage here, but compared to the Cyclone and what Rappy Smacks was bringing to the fight, they're just a little bit behind. So now for the next 5-10 minutes here, Cloud Dragon Esports, they are going to be on the weaker side. They have to respect that here, and really until Xiao becomes a full-fledged Kayn, you can't even really look for ganks.
At least he'll be forced into his form, I think, a little bit quicker. You can see it ping, I think, right there. No, that was just level 6, of course. So still sitting on a little bit more. That was actually, I'm a little bit stupid. That was actually the smite being completed. So yeah, I don't know my animations, everyone.
The smite animation honestly still confuses me a little. There's like so many bugs with the way the smite things work, with the way it increases now, especially if you run a unsealed spellbook. I use it mid sometimes on Anivia, and It bugged out the other day, didn't give me my 900 smite, and I could not contest Baron, could not do cheeky plays with it.
I like how you're talking about a bug that is not intentional, and you're just like, yeah, I'm the bug didn't bug for me. That's just the worst thing in the world right there.
Oh, it is, yeah. I mean, even if it's intended or not, it's in the game, right?
Yeah.
In solo queue, it's not disabled. It's not like here in comp where we disable bugged things. And speaking of bugs right now, that bug in the bot lane continue to farm up a storm, but it's top side where we might see some action here.
Yeah, want to break some rocks up there. And Rainy Day, we've seen this happen again and again, right? Rainy Day being the kind of pressure soaker in terms of how many times he has been ganked over and over again. And again, on the Malphite, he does very, very well in that sense. Again, turned around a tower dive on the top side and been able to set up for his team. So watching So Toxic continuously go to this top side might not be the best option for Gothboy Clique. However, that is going to be Rift Herald started up. We'll see if Zhao is able to kind of spot it out. And yeah, immediately walking over that top ward. So Toxic wants nothing to do with that.
Is once again up a level here. The CS discrepancy is not huge, so it just feels like Xiao is constantly able to soak a little bit more experience in places here. They're all setting up once again for the Herald, and I think Gothboy Clique, they're stronger in equal numbers, and it's not equal. And Nahor roaming up from the bot lane.
That was a very obvious roam as well. Walk straight through the mid lane, and that means Snickers and Louis Vuitton should have complete control of this bottom lane. Eller Voth, of course, will just have to watch the plates kind of bleed away as the gold dwindles down. And of course, the living artillery is enough to kind of stall out any chance that Eller Voth wants. You can see every time the tether comes out from Snickers, it is pretty much granted that Eller Voth will have to use a leap. Now we see 4 members rotating on the bot side, and Eller Voth had a very nice head on his own shoulders. Now we're going to see a little bit of slice and a quick rocket jump out, but the Dark Harvest stack does go over to Bobkin. So, I mean, that's all you really want. You get 2 plates as well, and I think that's a large chunk of change in turn for that Rift Herald, which is actually dropped mid. I actually wonder if this is not actually going to be worth.
Not B. That's 3 plates in the bot side right now. Herald's going to guarantee you 2 plates mid. And yeah, So Toxic is just hammering at that. Now this bot side's getting scary. Yoshishi.
Yeah, that is the stolen Malphite ultimate that you were worried about. And this is Gothboy Clique paying back in spades that bot lane pressure. 2-0 with the help of Yoshishi, and mid lane tower losing 4 plates. Gothboy Clique come out with about a 2k lead from that entire exchange.
They already had a lead before this year, so it's just continuing to grow it a little bit. They're in a really, really solid position, and look at where the kills are ending up. Ealer Quote right now 3-0-4, and when we're talking about pregame, we're talking about this bot lane matchup, these carries who do so often take over in the mid to late game. Well, Ealer Quote is almost there already with that Kraken Slayer picked up. The bot lane is done now. 1v2, Ealer can actually step up and still look to threaten.
Yeah, and this is also against a Kog'Maw that is pure late game, right? Kog'Maw, there's no chance it is an early mid game champion, whatever. When you're late game, you specifically cannot lose lane, right? That is the whole premise behind the champion. That's the whole premise behind the kind of setup that you have. He is drastically behind right now, right? Hasn't even finished his coal at this point. That is how far behind he is, and you don't want to see that, especially with second dragon coming up, especially with all this pressure that they tried to put down on the bot side and just not working in their favor. So you are going to see the dragon started up. Rappy Smack's even rotating to ensure that the dragon is taken, and that is going to call down the rain of fire from the Infernal Drake coming out. That will be the soul that can be played for.
Okay, so we're reading dragons here, Orbital. We had a dragon first, so you know, a peaceful early game, and then Cloud Drake's dead, so I guess CDE's mid game's completely shafted, and then Infernal. Does that mean we're just gonna get to see a lot of late game team fights? Is that what we're reading here, Orbital?
Well, yeah, but now we get the early game as Rainy Day is on the receiving end of a few hits. Now that is gonna be the Unstoppable Force used to get out. Eller Voth is now trying to get a little bit of damage back. Louis Vuitton eats about 50% HP damage, and Eller Quoth saying, yeah, let's dance it out. I'm 3-0-4. I'm having a fantastic time right now.
Of little Orbital worries me. 10%, that's a little. Half your health bar? That's a lot here, and that wasn't even off a fully charged explosive shot. Ealer Quote did not actually get the all of the shots onto that here. So if they do get all of the shots, Louis Vuitton's did, with or without that shield. While that's happening, mid lane outer turret went down as well, and Big Fat Bobkins, already not really able to move out too much, is going to be an even worse position for trying to rotate now.
So with mid lane down, the Silas, that is something that is important, right? Silas able to roam around. Yoshishi already 2-2 and 4 with that Everfrost, can lock down an opponent for at least, I would say, 2 to 3 seconds, right? The question is where is he going to go? Where is he going to opt to get some of these ultimates? Where is he going to decide to lay down the pressure and continue pressuring fourth? So far, it looks like the bottom lane, they want to keep Louis Vuitton completely out of this game.
There's double control wards in that bush here. It's like, one would be enough to slow down whoever's coming in. Two was kind of overkill. Louis Vuitton and Snickers, though, recognizing that, they just have to walk away. And that's going to be just free turrets gone. Don't stay. Don't stay, guys.
They're going to wait off on the end, of course. They know someone's lurking in the jungle. No one's there to help. And now we're going to see Bobkins going ahead, trying to get the root down. And a little bit jump in. Encore only lands on one, though. And they're going to go ahead, take Snickers' life, but the Encore right back is going to just bring everyone in. Over the wall goes Bobkins. Over the wall goes Eller. Again, the fashion assassin will go ahead and nap up his fifth. The following two means that will be 3-0 for Goth Boy Clique as they are working their way into the Dragon Slayer Chronicles.
Oh boy, things are looking not so good for Cloud Dragon Esports right now. Before this, you know, it was kind of just like a 2-3k goal. Yeah, you're behind, but it's not the end of the world here. Louis Vuitton can skill up. You still have options to come back in. But right now, where are you looking at here? Xiao doesn't really have a great place to gank. Does have form now, is Red Kane, but your bot lane's kind of won over heavily right now. Your top side doesn't have enough kill potential. And the Seraphine here still hasn't completed that first mythic compared to Yoshishi. Without healing cut, you can't contest that. So Cloud Dragon Esports just kind of has to sit back a little bit and pray that Goth Boy Clique don't continue pushing the pace.
If they don't, I feel that is not going to play the Goth Boy Clique style, right? Like, let's be real here. They are a team that love to press the tempo when they have the advantage, when they know they have the upper hand. They will take it and run. Of course, with the second Rift Herald coming up here very, very shortly, top lane seems to be the priority. I think they're actually spotted in Rainy Day. Not going to be happy about the ensuing collapse going down. Again, Ensemble Force over the wall. But Yoshishi does have that ultimate.
Good play by Rainy Day there. If you don't use it immediately, you're dead. If that chain landed, they can chain all the CC there, lock you down. And with the damage that Esports is bringing to the table right now, the 157 armor that Rainy Day has doesn't really matter. Even right now, I'm still a little scared for Rainy Day. I don't think you win the 1v1 here.
No, he opted to go straight for the mythic. Normally we would, in my opinion, see maybe a Bramble Vest, right? Just to help kind of cut down in the trades. But you know what helps is the rest of the team coming in. Eller is going to go ahead, try and trade back. Snickers is going to eat, 95%. I'm calling it. That was at least 95% of his HP. Snickers goes, I'm not the MVP anymore. I am a background character. I will be leaving the top lane.
That's a good call. That's an MVP call. You just walk away and full force.
Yeah, well, Rainy Day is the main antagonist of this story, and the antagonists no more, you know, they have to fall some way or another, and that is going to come directly after the collapse of the top lane. So all outer towers have been demolished by, I think specifically, Eller, Volth, and So Toxic. Those are the only two that have been around for the tower gold. Oh.
That's annoying to interrupt the recall there, but while that was happening, Herald was also picked up by So Toxic, who didn't need to go topside. So those turrets now are not safe either. They can easily siege it up, and there just isn't sufficient threat on the side of Cloud Dragon to force them out. And with the Tristana, with Shelly, that's a free turret there. They can maybe even get two. They're picking up Dragon as well, and in 5 minutes, we're staring down the barrel of an Infernal Soul here. Even more damage. That last 5% won't be an issue for Esports anymore.
And if we're taking a look, right, at this squad, I was about to ask you a question, but I don't know if I can. Okay. Might have a chance if Snickers stops dancing. I don't know if you want to dance against Yoshishi, who is 2-2 and 8. Stacking Medjais, by the way. Once you see a Medjais, I feel like you can't duel anyone alone. So Toxic, though, is going to go ahead, find Rainy Day once again. He might have to burn. He instead chooses to burn the Flash, opting to keep that ultimate alive. But Snickers MVP going to go ahead and play super aggro and aggressive. Now the rest of the squad, GBC roaming through the enemy side jungle. And I mean, they own pretty much everywhere that is not within tower sight.
Normally, with your inner turret still up, you can still try and contest the jungle a little bit here. But because they're just so far down in terms of items, you can't. The level discrepancy isn't too bad for the most part here. Maybe a level down in the bot lane, and that's really about it. But yeah, they do have to be careful. Shirelia's popped to get them out. I think a little excessive, but that's okay. They can look to reset. The cooldown's fairly short on that. It'll be back up for the next fight.
And I just want to point out, we haven't been able to touch on it, but as we hit 20 minutes, I want to talk about the gold difference, right? 5K, or just shy of 4.8 between the teams. But let's look where that gold lead actually is. Top lane is fairly even. Jungle is about, 500 difference. Mid lane is about 1K, and then Voth and Louis Vuitton, right? These two have such a large discrepancy. I think that is at 2.1K difference.
I mean, Goth is 6-0-4, hasn't died in no time. I think that's pretty fair that we're seeing a significant discrepancy come out of that. And my bigger problem for Cloud Dragon Esports right now is that what can you, even if you kill Goth, that's not good enough. It's not like all the eggs are in that one basket. Yoshishi's doing a ton of damage as well here. And So Toxic in that last fight that we saw happen, just managed to sustain through, didn't actually go down. The healing cut from the Bramble Vest, that's all good and well, but that assumes that So Toxic is going to be hitting Xiao or Rainy Day here. And frankly, I think Aaron Olaf, that's not necessarily the target you want to hit.
Yeah. No one wants to try and duel either Toxic or Rappy Smacks. Both these players are fairly tanky for themselves. You can see Divine Sunder being built for Rappy Smacks, plus that Executioner's Calling, so doubling down on kind of that shredding potential that is available.
For Cloud Dragon right now, their mythics are starting to come through with the Kog'Maw. A lot of times you're not going to see mythic till like third or fourth item here. It's Wit's End into Hurricane is generally what we see. So they're at a place where they can choose to contest if they want. Herald dropped bot side here for pressure. Baron's on the table. I mean, they could try this.
Oh, they're going to try something else. They're going to go ahead and get a double man encore, and the follow through is going to be there. Yes, they take down Nahor. Can they follow anyone else? Unfortunately, ADC did get away scot-free, and they're going to get a little bit of a boost. Again, bot side is the duel that we're taking a look at now. Rainy Day and Rappy Smacks, I think, exchange an ultimate greeting. Rainy Day actually still has the unstoppable force. Still only picking up the support when you get a two-man encore. That is a rough feeling to have.
They might be able to get the mid lane turret, and if they do, that kind of evens things out here. But Orbital, it's less about the pick they get onto the support and more about the denying Baron right now for Gothboy Clique. They had no vision. It was so risky for them to walk in there, and Gothboy Clique just needed to set up vision, and they can absolutely shred that Baron down. You take one member out, and suddenly they can't do that. You stall out longer, and for Cloud Drake, stalling is fine. Stalling is okay. You've got the Kog'Maw, and you're behind.
Any stall is good stall for Cloud Dragon Esports, where here in the first game, I think the composition is well thought out, but just having some issues kind of executing, as that's going to be a leap forward, and Louis Vuitton has to wallow his way to safety. And I just want to point out, we didn't see it on the screen, he dropped to 25% HP off of 2 autos and a sticky bomb.
Is brutal. I mean, granted, in a fight, in the actual fight here, there will be the Seraphine, there will be the Karma, so it's not going to be quite as bad here, but it is still not great to see because all the shields won't help you. And the moment that Serpent's fan comes through, things change. But for Cloud Dragon Esports, they are running out of time. Dragon's coming up, and with Baron, with So on the table here, they have to fight this. If they give this up, it's just going to get tougher and tougher for them. Can they find the right engage? I'm watching Rainy Day to find that 3-4 man engage here.
Well, Zhao's going to go ahead and go over, and that's a huge whiff on the Seraphine ultimate. That was a hijacked ultimate, so keep that in mind. Real Seraphine ultimate is available. Snickers MVP eats a single undertow. Now follow through. You can see the zoning potential is up, right? You know Bobkins has that ultimate available. You use your one engage tool. Yoshishi hoping to grab Rainy Day's Rainy Day is a stoppable force, but I don't think he has his own available. Dragon is now going to be started up. A little bit of turnaround, but they don't have their ADC. Now this is going to be a follow-up. They're just going to chase. That's a 3-man encore. Can they fall through? Louis Vuitton is alive, and that's going to be a double win shutdown. Make that a triple kill. Can they fall through the combo? Finally finds one. And would you know it, Cloud Dragon Esports battle their way to victory with only Eller Voth surviving to tell the tale. He is going to flash away. Is not going to get rooted. But shot out, but the knockup is there. That is it. That is the ace out of nowhere. Cloud Dragon Esports get it. They claim the dragon. They'll take a mid lane tower by Bobkin's way, and they will take the Baron for themselves.
Last one team fight for Cloud Dragon Esports Orbital was 8 minutes and 30 seconds. What is that? 17 minutes, 16 and a half minutes ago, and they've been quietly just skilling up. Huge win for them, but I just gotta, is it my eyes? I thought Nahor was the one who initiated that without Eler quote. Like, that was Goth Boy Clique running it down.
I hard agree with that. Like, we can't sugarcoat it. We can't turn a blind eye to literally what was on the screen. The fight kicked off and Eller Voth was still in mid lane. I have to point that out. If you're going to team fight, you kind of need the champion that is 6 kills deep over the enemy ADC and your main source of damage. Like, why would you? I'm a little bit lost.
Yeah, it had to be a miscommunication on their part, and it's costing them so much now because they were up 5,000, 6,000 gold before that series of events, and now they're dead even. And you don't want to be dead even against that Kog'Maw you put so much effort into early game shutting down, and now you don't want to fight for the next 2 minutes while that Baron's up. You just want to be shoving lanes, making sure that they don't get any advantage from Baron, and then maybe in 3 minutes you reset and you go for that Inferno again. If you get that soul, you're still in a pretty good position at this point in the game.
I love it so much. I want you to look in Louis Vuitton's item bag. What does Louis Vuitton have? Well, nope, can't talk about it. That's burst. Bobkins is going full lethal AP damage, so that is what happens when a Seraphine does not build Moonstone Renewer. But again, I want to turn eyes to Louis Vuitton's item bag. RMC, what do we see? And walk me through it.
It's Juggernaut. You build Randuin's into your build here. I've seen it a lot, 4th item, usually after the mythic, but you know, like 3rd item is fine too, especially when right now the shred is good enough and you're just trying to survive. You can see how much attention they're paying to Louis Vuitton in these fights here, and being able to reduce that damage certainly helps a lot. So it's not as crazy as it looks, and I'm waiting for the next team fight to see how it plays out here. Is it enough? Because the last one, to be fair, Louis Vuitton wasn't under as much pressure without Eler Quoth being present.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yes, Louis Vuitton, Eller Voth wasn't there, but now it's just like, will it make that much of a difference, right? You're taking a look at the opponents that are there. Yes, the ADC wasn't there, but that just means Rainy Day will be able to target out this ADC, will be able to target this squishy Tristana, right? And that is something that is a little bit cause for worry. Zhao is finally online as well, was able to finish up the Stridebreaker, plus Miramana is now building into that tank side, right? The Bramble Vest completed and has been sitting on it for a while. And Bobkins, right? You have to watch this guy. Got a triple kill in that last team fight. Already is building towards that Horizon focus. Is going to be one-shotting either Tristana or the Lulu consistently.
We talked about Yoshishi building that Medjai's with 8 stacks. That got reset. And if you look over to Bobkins, that's a 10-stack Dark Seal right now. So that definitely more gold efficient. Bobkins in a good place to carry. And these Encores have been on point from them. Dragon coming up in 1 minute here. I like the fact that Goth Boy Cliques have started clearing out the vision here, because you probably do want to get a pick. Your comp is looking a little bit shakier in the team fights here, and you've got a lot of single pick potential.
Massive single pick potential as Snickers MVP. Again, getting dropped to 50% and not going to be frontlining, right? Has been playing like a frontliner, which we've called into question a few times, but with the itemization, you can tell why, right? You have the Shirelia's battle song. You want to be in front to allow your tanks to kind of get in the fight, but then the Chemtech Putrefier directly afterwards. This is a little different than I think a lot of people might go, right? You might want that staff flowing water, or you know, like maybe even an Ardent Sensor if you're really, really working it. But going with the Chemtech is such a team, like a much larger team play build, I feel.
you're looking at that Olaf for So Toxic here, looking at the Silas from Yoshishi here, you want to be able to apply that so that they can't heal up in the fights and that your shred, your damage actually sticks. We see Bobkins going back to base, does have teleport available, and Dragon is coming up in 8 seconds. Yeah, I was going to say, you can't really get a flank here, but they don't need it.
Oh. That is going to be for the first time Yoshishi with the Malphite ult. Remember, the hijacked Encore whiffed at the beginning, so Yoshishi has a much more, I want to say, stable way to engage this time around. But look at that damage output. The secondary passive from Seraphine, we don't realize how much damage it can do, and it's long range, so it is by far one of the most annoying, I'd say.
At the poke right now, there's just no answer from Gothboy. Clique have to engage here. You can't keep waiting.
Oh, they go, but Louis Vuitton is able to flash out, and now the Encore lands on a 3. That is all they need, but that is going to be a fight in the back line. Wukong trying to fight it out, but they do not. Zhao is going to go ahead and win it out, and just like that, they're dead. They are all dead. Another ace to close it out. Cloud Dragon Esports win that battle hands down.
And that Louis Vuitton is a big threat. It is a huge issue. It is someone you want to take down. But you can't be going after Louis Vuitton at the expense of your own carries here. Eliquote needs to be able to pump out damage, isn't able to do so. And again, Inferno Soul denied away. It's picked up by Cloud Dragon, Esports here. They are scaling up quite worryingly here. You can stack 4 of those and you get 16% ability and attack damage. You get Inferno on top of that. And now I'm concerned about the next big objective, Baron. If you can't win at Dragon for Gothboy Clique, Baron's gonna feel that much worse.
I'm just Cloud Dragon Esports slogged. I for any term that I can come up with. They battled through the early stage of the game. They were down by 2 or 3K. They were facing a heavily buffed up Eller Voth, this Justana that we've seen do massive amounts of work, and have yet been able to continuously pump out team fight after team fight. Now, Juggermaw is fully online, right? You can even see he is not going for his mythic. That will be a 5th item mythic, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous in its own right. And then follow through with the rest of them, right? 4 items now completed for Big Fat Bobkins. Zhao Gao is sitting on 2.5. And Rainy Day is ready with that ultimate. This team is fully functional, fully online, 32 minutes in. It is now a battle of mechanics and battle of macro play.
I mean, honestly, it's harder for Gothboy Clique right now. In terms of either of those, whether it be macro or micro here, they have slightly less options in what they want to do. And when I'm looking at this Kog'Maw right now, I don't think he's even going to build a mythic. If you're going this way with that stopwatch, you're probably going GA, and then your last item is maybe a Bork or a Gwinsu's. I don't like the Gwinsu's build, so I prefer the Bork. Don't really have a huge tank, so either would kind of work here. So we might not even see a mythic at all coming through from this Cog. And you know what? So far, it's worked. Big Fat Bobkins has been able to pump out enough damage that the squishies are going down and the tanks aren't able to shred through that Randuin's fast enough.
And I also want to draw your attention over to Yoshishi. This Silas that we were talking about was doing so well in the early stages, right? Kind of keeping up tempo, has now fallen extremely far behind, right? 2 items, but only 2 stacks on that Medjai's. And Bobkins has done a phenomenal job keeping eyes on that champion, right? Just so well done in shutting down a champion that was picked primarily and very specifically to steal ultimates, to apply those ultimate onto the backline carries, and to start fights for their team.
The Silas knew that you're probably going to be running into either the Karma or the Seraphine here. So it was half a counter pick coming out when it did, and it just hasn't quite worked for them. There's no vision right now for the side of Gothboy Clique. They can't actually walk into that. And yeah, okay, I thought Cloud Dragons was going to start that. They can just looking for Ealer instead.
Yep, that's one out attack. Almost Trespass is used. Now can they find another? Yep, that's just a pickup. Zhao is going to win that one out. Now the teleport is used, and Yoshishi eats 50%. And that will mean no one can contest Dragon, right? You don't have your ADC. That's just a free Baron over the side of CDE.
Yeah, Cloud Dragon Esports just getting away with absolutely everything here. It's frankly kind of ridiculous at this point that there's just no contest available for Gothboy Clique as long as Cloud Dragon Esports don't mess up. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. This lead just keeps on growing here. And Now is when macro becomes super important for Goth Boy Clique. You don't win the team fights. You're not winning the objectives. The only way you kind of get yourself back into the game is you take turrets. You out-rotate here. You still have that Tristana here who can absolutely just shred through a turret if you can get the Tristana to that turret. And Rappy smacks So Toxic and Yoshishi, they can always collapse and still try and find picks here. They are very mobile champions who can move quicker than the Seraphine and the Malphite.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to wait and see what they can do with this Baron. Again, all question marks kind of ringing true. Thoughts moving in as Nahor is going to try and clear out a ward. Can't find it. Dragon up in 30 seconds. And of course, that would put it at 6th Dragon, right? This is, once again, an attempt by Goth Boy Clique to kind of finish off what they started. They were doing so well in terms of Dragon control and just haven't found the option yet.
Frankly, for the side of Goth Boy Clique, I don't even want to see them contest this Dragon right now. I don't think you can. You don't have poke to answer this. If you engage, you lose the fight. I'd rather see them push a wave, try and burn out the Baron.
Oh my gosh, 3 auto attacks and Eller Volt is completely out. Doesn't really have any lifesteal or any heavy lifesteal, I would say. So not gonna be able to do that. Double pink ward up. Dragon is gonna go ahead and be gifted over. Yoshishi and the rest of the squad is nowhere near this. So yeah, just easily picked up. That's gonna be handed over. And now you're in prime position, if you are Cloud Dragon Esports, to start pressuring down mid with this disgusting 5-man kind of big cannon shot that you have.
Oh, and Goth Boy Clique are out of position right now. They can't even contest this first zit.
Oh my gosh.
Went down before they could even look close. And yeah, Xiao's not even letting them back into their base.
Well, that's going to be a fight broken down. Yoshishi is bumped right into the enemy squad. Double Zanya straight in the middle, and a late TP comes in, and your team just might be dead. Cloud Dragon Esports are going to run this fight. Rappy Snacks finally makes his way in and is going to try and chop down Zhao, but it's not going to happen. So Toxic is going to be beat to death by the rock that he tried to break, and Rainy Day gets his 5th kill of the game. That is going to be Cloud Dragon Esports taking a 3-0 victory and breaking open the base, and even might end the game here.
They definitely can. I mean, 20 seconds before Nahor is up, and that's the soonest person. Rappy smacks no Cyclone. You can't even stop this. And if Ealer walks up, Ealer's dead. Almost there.
Yeah, almost dead. And it's not going to happen. Rappy smacks, the clone is getting hit. And Bobkins goes ahead and gets the snipe, finishing off with a solid kill. Cloud Dragon Esports take game number 1.
No, I don't think we have to wait for the full 5 series to see Cloud Dragon's mental here. We saw it here in game 1. Literally 17 minutes of just getting beat down. Goth Boy Clique playing the early game so well here. They accrue themselves a huge lead, but the moment they make a mistake, Cloud Dragon just turn it around, force their way back to the game, and take it all here. Really well played from both these teams. Goth Boy Clique just has to make sure they don't make these big mistakes again.
I just want to point out something that I found incredible in many respective terms, right? I took a look at the timer and I was wondering, you know, how many kills were going through, right? It's 15 to 22. 13 kills occurred for Goth Boy Clique in the first 18.5 minutes. 2 occurred after 18.5 minutes. For very close to 20 minutes, they were not allowed to get more than 2 kills total in those games. So that blows my mind.
And part of that is a function of the composition here. What Cloud Dragon Esports shot themselves was that Juggernaut composition. You know exactly how it's going to work. You do not want to let it go to late game unless you've got answers for it, unless you've got better skillers than them, not just equal, but better. And they really only had the Tristana on their side here. Silas skills well as well, but doesn't necessarily accomplish the job. So going into game 2, I mean, I don't think they need to change things up necessarily because they did execute their composition right. They ran the early game. They got their lead. But if they might want to look into building some insurance a little bit. Maybe not the Olaf here for So Toxic, though it is their most played champion here. Maybe something that's got a bit better skilling so that if they make a mistake, they still can get back in the game.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see. Of course, that was game number 1 in the books. We'll be right back with game number 2 and see if Goth Boy Clique are able to pull it back and tie things up. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everyone. We are here for hopefully what will be another fantastic game number 2. Game number 1, pretty interesting, right? Early stages went the way of Goth Clique, something we expected, and then Cloud Dragon Esports. Many of you, we heard the viewers were chanting for Cloud Dragon Esports to win the late game. I mean, the Juggernaut came online and crushed it. 2 team fights in a row, I might add.
Yeah, I mean, once it starts rolling here, it's so hard to come back. And again, it's just the lack of skilling options here on the side of Goth Clique. Now, as we get ready for the second draft here, they have opted to keep the same side. So it's still Goth Clique on the blue side and Cloud Dragon Esports on the red side here. I don't expect to really see any changes in the draft, in the bans too much coming through from the side of Cloud Dragon Esports. If anything, maybe a Tristana ban, because Ealer looked really good on that Tristana, even though they were losing, was still very ahead of things. But yeah, if you win, you don't really need to change things up.
Yeah, no real warriors. Now on the flip side, we take a look at the bans that kind of came out, right? For the side of Goth Clique, they banned out Kha'Zix, Thresh, and Zoe, which Thresh, of course, aimed over, I believe, at Snickers MVP. But I mean, is there anything they can drop, right? Because it feels like if they're not ready for the Kog'Maw, you have to ban it away.
Yeah, if anything, maybe you drop the Zoe if to prevent the Juggernaut from coming through. Because if they want to run that Juggernaut, they'll probably still look for that double shielding composition. And right now, it feels like mid support probably the better ways to go here in terms of where you want to put those shielding enchanters. So that would be my guess: is you drop the Zoe ban here.
Yeah, just letting that one out. As of course, we are into the pick ban phase, and immediately the Seraphine. So targeting that mid lane, saying Bobkins was a little bit too good there to allow that Seraphine to come through again. Still surprising that you kind of don't take it for yourself, right? I think that is something that you should do. But again, now the Kog'Maw, and again on the flip side, you do see the Nocturne and the Shen still being hovered. The 2 of the 5 priority champions that were taken by Cloud Dragon Esports are banned away.
Okay, you know what? I like this too. When you're down in a best of 5 here, you're only game 2. You can afford to switch things up quite a bit and see what works, what doesn't work. You can see if letting through some of those bans are going to be safe for you to do. And you know that the Seraphine, you know that the Kog'Maw were definitely problems. So just take them off the table and then see what else they've got to throw at you.
Another one that you can't really deny is, of course, that Cho'Gath that was up there, but they banned away the Tristana on their own. So saying Tristana ADC is not going to work again.
And that makes me very curious. What is your prio here that you banned Tristana, that you felt so strongly about? Dear, I mean, the Olaf is open right now. The Diana is open. And as far as I'm aware, actually, no, that's So Toxic, who's usually the one who has to pick those champions. Xiao has lots of champions, has a pretty large champion pool here. So I really don't think that Udyr priority was necessary. You could have just gone to Tristana first pick instead and still had that Udyr open for second, third rotation.
Yeah, considering you have 3 ADCs banned away, of course, now a 4th shadow ban with the Kai'Sa pickup there. Now you're reaching pretty deep into what can be considered S and A tier kind of ADCs. Caitlyn's still on board, and Varus is definitely still available. So still opportunities, but not as strong, right? These champions that we saw last split, but might not be available, or might not be wanted as much. Now we're going to see what the second pick, of course, is, and that is going to be the Graves. So bringing out the gunslinger himself.
So already 2 ranged champions, fairly short ranged champions coming through for the side of Cloud Dragon Esports here, and 2 sort of early aggressive pick. Graves likes to make action happen early, isn't exactly one of those scaling junglers here, and Kai'Sa likes to dive. So I'm expecting to see more dive enabling champions come through for the rest of this draft. Maybe not enchanters for support, maybe more like hard engage things like the Leona, like the Nautilus, like the Alistar.
And if they can, that's great. But of course, you are looking on the flip side, a little bit longer range for the ADC, taking up that Caitlyn that we had spoke of a little bit earlier. Maybe you want to pair it with an enchanter, maybe just like the hard poke, right? We have seen, I think Zyra, we've seen kind of come up in a little bit. But of course, the OP, the OG, annoying lane of death has been locked in. Caitlyn Morgana, most likely running the gauntlet bot.
And we've seen Morgana not be highly prioritized as a support, and that's why we see her so frequently in the jungle. But more Caitlyn, that is a very, very punishing lane. And the moment I see that, I start thinking your support needs to be somebody who can either take that damage, can survive the burst, which means tanky, or they need to be really, really mechanically good. Karma being locked in right now is potentially a 3-lane flex, so might not be the support. And if it is the support here, I don't think that's it, because you can kind of black shield away the tether there. If the lockdown comes in, Karma's out, can't really sustain herself very, very well either.
And not just that, I mean, you're talking about a champion that will get locked down and just eat that range. And now into the second ban phase, taking away the Silas, saying, hey, we really don't want that Silas to get to our backline. And the response, of course, is the Malphite. Once you ban out the Silas, you kind of know what they were probably going to play with. Of course, that is targeted towards Rainy Day, who, in my opinion, actually had a pretty good game with that Malphite, right? I think only died twice in that game, even with all the pressure thrown up top. So a rightful ban right there. 3 of the 5 now.
Yeah, no, for sure. And not only that, but when a comp wants to go in like that with the Kai'Sa, with the Graves, you don't want to give them tools that let you engage so quickly, so easily. And Rainy Day's Malphite was not only a problem in lane, where it did win out against the Wukong, but was also the primary engage tool. Corki being taken off the table there, you just want to make sure Bushishi doesn't get his hands on that. We've seen it before. And more importantly, with the amount of range they already have with the Caitlyn, with the Morg, adding Corki just makes it such that Cloud Dragon Esports won't have a good time in any sort of siege situation. They'll always have to try and rush things down or be looking to fight, because they can't trade it in terms of poke.
Well, now focusing on that Ornn, really making sure that the late game will not go in favor of Cloud Dragon Esports. That does leave the Cho'Gath open. I feel that's kind of a pinch force pick, but you know what's open is the Seamstress. Gwen is being hovered. This would be a blind pickup Gwen, and that would be a direct challenge, it kind of feels like, over towards the side of Goth Boy Clique against Rappy Smacks. Is being hovered. Come on, let's see it locked in. I want to see it locked in, and I just want to see her try and duel around. No, it's gonna be the dang it.
Oh no, this also means that it's not a tank for Rainy Day this time. We're seeing the Camille come through. I don't know how I feel about this one here, bro. I mean, I saw it in chat. People were saying Cloud Dragon Esports wins game 1, puts Rainy Day on carries games 2, games 3. We've seen that happen before. But on the reverse side, if they can win with this Camille top here, that's going to be psychologically a huge advantage they have. And well, not only psychologically, but in terms of trap as well, they know that they've got themselves more options and insurance should they mess up.
Well, you know how you deal with some fighters. It's the OG method of dealing with fighters. You bring out the Renekton, you the Croc in the top side, not going to be turned into Crocs today, and then the Rumble in that mid lane. The hover is there. If the lock-in is made, that's actually a fairly short range composition with only Caitlyn and Morgana for range. Yeah, it's made.
There's the option of Zoe coming across for the side of Cloud Dragon Esports here. I mean, if you're gonna leave that Zoe up, you've got to be hyper aware that it's gonna be an option here. And picking something like the Rumble, or even if you decide to, you know, swap things up and send the Renekton mid, that's still not going to be a favorable matchup. Yes, you've got a back shield to negate the Sleepy Trouble bubble, but it doesn't stop the poke. And that poke that's coming out from that Zoe hits so much harder than Caitlyn's, than the Caitlyn poke, or even the Morgana poke for the most part.
Well, it is going to be locked in, so a lot of range versus a lot of melee damage. I want to say fairly different approaches than game number 1. This feels a lot more like a kite and run composition, you know, guerrilla warfare from both squads. And if we actually see a 5-5 head fight, I think that would be the most surprising thing of all.
Kinda, yeah. I'm frankly not super happy with the drafts that have come out from either of these teams. I feel like they adapted, which is good, but the problem is their identity is somewhat now unclear for both of these teams. Once again, Goth Boy Clique, their engage tools aren't necessarily the best. You're looking at either, you know, a dark binding to find a pick, or else how are you going to set your team fights? Renekton looking for a flank, because if you're running in the front door, there's a lot of poke, there's a lot of damage you eat. Udyr, same problem, and Rumble is simply not really an engage tool. And for the side of Cloud Dragon Esports, they're in a similar situation. You've got the Hextech ultimatum at least here, but that's a Camille who's not super tanky. So I get the nasty feeling we're going to see a lot of poking and a lot of just sort of skirmishes for the most part. When engage comes through, I think whoever is engaging is probably going to die. It's up to the rest of the team to somehow salvage that fight.
And I want to kind of take a look, right? If you're taking a look at either side, what would be like the ideal gang squad? What is the gorilla, 2 or 3 man squads that you would want to see kind of roaming around? Obviously, the identities are kind of shaken, but at least 2 or 3 champions on each side do synergize fairly well together. If you have these 2 champions roaming together, they are going to wreak havoc. For either side, who would you hope is kind of your frontliners, the ones trying to seek out the opponents that would give them the ideal, 1 or 2 picks that they need to steamroll the game?
I mean, for Goth Boy Clique, I'm looking at their top side triumvirate here with the Udyr, Renekton, Rumble. That's your roaming death squad here. And then you catch somebody, they should die. You've got enough CC, you've got more than enough damage here, but it's not necessarily great for the team fight. So early game, they need to make these picks count here. For the side of Cloud Dragon Esports, I guess I'm looking at the Zoe here because the CP Trouble Bubble into a Paddle Star can instantly take a Caitlyn out of the fight, can take a Morgana out of the fight, can take a Rumble out of the fight here. So a lot of pressure. And this is also one of Big Fat Bobkin's most played champions. So if you're going to play it that much, if you haven't banned against you that much on it, you got to show the strength of your pocket pick here.
It's just all eyes right there. I mean, the Seraphine wasn't one of them, right? And we saw how well he did on the Seraphine. Now it's kind of a different situation. You don't have that encore to back up your team. You don't have kind of that big ultimate that's just like, yeah, we turned the team fight 100% if we landed on 3 or 4 members, right? This is, you have to pick 1 or twice at a time. Now, if you had to see the Zoe roaming, who would you want to pair it with, right? You had the Camille with Hextech Ultimatum, or you even have the Kai'Sa, right? With the Killer Instinct is able to kind of throw in and throw down. But I mean, what would be the ideal situation for Cloud Dragon Esports? Who would you want to see follow up on the Sleep with Trouble bubble?
I mean, ideally, it would be that Kai'Sa because the burst you put down and the kills going on the right target. But realistically, it's most likely going to be Xiao with this Graves here. Will be pairing roaming with Big Fat Bobkins. And in that 2v2, as long as they kind of don't get ambushed by the Udyr from short range, they should be able to win out that 2v2. They should be able to kite out. They should have enough CC here. So I expect that mid lane strength to favor the side of Cloud Dragon Esports, and they're going to need it because, like I said, I think the game's a lot about poke, a lot about picks here, and you've got better pick tools here with that Zoe to a certain extent. There's a Dark Binding on the other side, but it's kind of a toss-up if they're all grouped. If you're roaming, it's so much easier for jungle mid. And Orbital, my biggest question marks in the bot lane right now. The Kai'Sa Karma lane into the Caitlyn Morg, that's going to be a hard lane in lane. Out of lane, it doesn't get much better here. And that R1 Kai'Sa pick coming through for Louis Vuitton, I just don't think it's gonna really get to play the game. And I'm looking for LV to prove me wrong here.
Yeah, well, that is going to be the big question to be answered. We saw Louis Vuitton fall behind fairly heavily in game number 1. We'll see if it happens again. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with game number 2 here in the Junior League Finals.
तेरी यादों का तेरी याद में निहा 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 तेरी याद में निहा तेरी यादों का तेरी याद में निहा तेरी यादों का तेरी याद में निहा तेरी यादों का तेरी याद में निहा तेरी याद में निहा तेरी यादों का तेरी याद में निहा तेरी यादों का तेरी याद में निहा तेरी यादों का तेरी याद में निहा
And we are back here. Teams on same sides, but pretty much I want to say 9 brand new champions entering the Rift, except for Snickers, who was stuck on that Karma duty. And we'll see what comes out. Again, early game was owned pretty much by Goth Boy Clique exclusively. Now both teams a little bit more tempered towards the early and mid game. We'll see if that changes up.
And to a certain extent, I almost feel like that favors Goth Boy Clique a little bit here with how the comps have worked out, because Cloud Dragon Esports came together as a team, as 5. That's when they started winning the team fight, started winning all the objectives, and just kind of ran the game and won it. But when it was the smaller skirmishes, when it was the 1v1s, the 2v2s, the 3v3s, that was when Goth Boy Clique found their leads. And with the way the comps work here, even if Cloud Dragon Esports clumps up, it still feels like a skirmish comp for the most part.
I'm waiting to see who these duelist sets are, the 2v2s. We always talk about how in solo queue, right, you're always talking about, man, if only jungle wasn't there, or oh man, if only the entire team didn't show up to fight. I feel these are the compositions that will help that the most, right? You have the most opportunity to kind of 1v1 to 2v2, 3v3, whatever you want to do, without the rest of the team exclusively rotating for a 5v5.
Yeah, essentially here, and it'll be interesting to see how they play out as well. I do want to point out Rainy Day did run the Ignite Teleport Camille here, so a little bit more combat power when you're trading for that all-in, but a little bit less safety here. And with Rainy Day, with what we've seen here, Rainy Day in the first place on these carries tends to be very binary in terms of their outcomes. So my eyes are on the top lane.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's been a story, right, that we could actually follow from the semifinals onwards, right? This is a player that we've seen excel so many times on these tanks, right? The Cho'Gath and the Malphite doing so well, and then in situations it's just seeming like, hey, let's go for a kind of interesting duelist, and then he falls flat, right? I think in game 2 at the semifinals it was 0-4, 0-5, I think at one point. I mean, if he gets redemption here, that will be one of the most impressive top lane stories I've seen so far.
Well, but at least for now, Orbital, we're looking at 2 CS to 12 CS. So Rainy Day's start of the game, not looking too good. And if we look at where the junglers started as well, Xiao started top side, so we're not seeing action, we're not seeing backup there, and Rainy Day is going to have to continue struggling.
Well, he's not the only one struggling, as Eller Volt was actually forced to burn both the flash and heal Snickers as well eats a lot of damage. There is no heal on the bottom side for Louis Vuitton and Snickers, so they went full aggressive. Now Bobkins is going to go ahead, throw out a Sleepy Trouble Bubble, get one onto the Udyr, and so Toxic is going to eat a little bit of damage. And again, with the Electrocute, it is there, but a root goes down. That is going to be a little bit of a tether root heal, and Nahor is now going to eat so much damage. Flash in and first blood. Louis Vuitton going to pick that one up. Rainy Day going ahead and dueling out on the top side, but all eyes on the bot side. Louis Vuitton, the one with the most extensive bag in the game, is going to bag himself first blood.
Yeah, and well played. There were flashes blown though by both Xiao and Louis Vuitton to make that work, but with everything blown for the side of Goth Boy Clique, this is a lane they can continue to revisit, continue to come back to and punish. From what we've seen from Ealer so far, he's been using those pilt over Peacemakers to shove out the lane top side. Rainy Day getting ganked.
But a nice chunk of Rappy Smacks might be able to trade it out a little bit more. Now the stop by So Toxic is going to burn the flash from Rappy Smacks. Of course, that is pretty close either way. Now we're going to see Yoshishi go ahead and try and get the kill, but the Ignite will take it. Trades a 1-for-1 in the mid lane. Trade of a top laner's health for Rainy Day. That is going to put Rappy Smacks up with an assist and about 3 CS.
Well played by Yoshishi, knowing that you were dead right there, right then. Just turn it around, try and trade even. I think Big Fat Botkin's not quite expecting it. Walked into melee range and had to soak most of that damage up. And once again, early game, Orbital, and we're dead even in kills though. Cloud Dragon Esports, because of that first blood, still has a lead, and I think they still have better gank options with all the flashes except for So Toxic's blown here.
Times that I actually really like how aggressive Snickers is playing forward, right? We saw it in game number 1 and kind of ate a bit more damage than I probably would have liked, but consistently playing up, stopping the backs is going to net them another chance at these kills. Zhao coming down. Once again, Ignite is used and the smoke screen is down. Can they follow with the damage? No. A miss on the Q and a follow-up Q from Louis Vuitton is not able to find the final procs. Eller Volt eats. Oh my gosh. Ate the W, ate the Prey Seeker from Louis Vuitton, living on a prayer, quite literally.
That was so close, and the setup to that was beautiful as well, chunking them down. Snickers just completely zoning them out, and this should net them the dragon as well. With the bot lane backing, 4 members from Cloud Dragon Esports here. So Toxic won't even want to look here, just power farm, maybe invade, or hey, Rainy Day's up top and no flash. That's always an option.
And it's weird to say that because, you know, instead of for only every 5 minutes he's an option all game. There is never a time that Rainy Day is not an option, not a chance to kill. But again, we saw what happened last time, right? That duel was a lot closer than we've seen him do before, right? Rappy Smacks dropping down also into the double-digit HP. So really need to keep eyes on that. Watch how it unfolds. And so far, Rappy Smacks at level 6 has the dominance available. Will win that trade pretty much 8 times out of 10.
And for Rainy Day here, still level 5, no Hextech ultimatum either. Does mean that they're very vulnerable here, but you can't dive a full health Camille just yet. You do need to get the poke down. You do need to get a bit of setup here, and they're trying.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the repel out, and Rappy Smacks is gonna eat 2 tower shots, but that does get the job done, right? Large wave under the tower, and Rainy Day is not allowed to step. Gonna lose, I want to say about 2.5 waves of CS.
Yeah, I mean, you're missing CS, but you're still there absorbing most of the experience. And right now for Rainy Day, you need to worry a bit more about falling behind in experience here. As long as you're fairly even, you can call in for help. But once you start dropping in levels, that's when you got to be careful that you get 2-man dove there. Before, it's risky. Once you start falling down in levels, it's a lot easier. Blast Cone outplay, shall we say, there, just pushing Snickers back a little bit. But this bot lane is firmly in CDE's grasp.
I just want to say, if Snickers had gone a melee champion and gone for that ward, he would have been dead. Maybe. but still the option would have been there. The Blastgun would have popped him towards the enemy team, and now Nahor goes ahead, eats a little of the Acathian rain. Now top lane, Rappy Smack's gonna eat the Duelist Challenge. Hextech Ultimatum thrown down. Damage is done, and the collateral damage makes its mark. Again, capitalizing on the top side.
And I want to point out how healthy Rainy Day is after that fight as well. Barely lost anything there. That's something they can repeat on what's that 140-second cooldown for that Hextech ultimatum, so you can just do that over and over again. Dominus won't save you. You can't flash out of that either. So Toxic has to be aware of these timings, and they need to make sure they've got enough vision down.
Vision is played around, and you can see with no vision on the bot side, so Tox is going to go ahead, probably get away with this blue butt take, but now he's getting pinched in. 3 members. Tether goes down. It's going to be a follow through. Oh, that's a very nice sleepy trouble bubble. They're going to try and go in, but the black shield is there. A root lands on the Zoe, and that's going to mean the turnaround is there. Again, Bobkins is so squishy, and the poor Zoe is not allowed to play the game. Now 2 deaths deep.
R5 pocket pick Zoe. Not working out too well here in this particular matchup. Bobkins, I think, got banned a little bit too much against Bobkins here, because looking a little bit rusty on the mechanics. The good news is that, well, Zoe, even if you fall apart in the early game, scales up quite nicely and will have a lot of impact against the multiple squishies. So it's not game over, and the rest of the team is still getting your back. They're still able to get farm. The bad news is they're starting to lose control of that mid lane a little bit, and Rumble in the mid game is much more impactful at team fights and objectives.
He's already going. You can see it is either the Night Harvester or Proto Belt. In this situation, which one would you prefer, right? We talked a little bit about the duelist perspective and, you know, the roaming death squad. Which one would you want to see the Rumble come out with?
Personally, I'm a bigger fan of Night Harvester, because that paddle started being blocked by minions. I like Night Harvester more because of the passive, the cooldown reduction, or the ability haste here. Just because I think if you can have it up all the time, there's so much utility in that equalizer. And when you get it down to like 30-second cooldowns, you can just literally drop it to clear waves over and over again.
Yeah, that is the opportunity that they can go for. But of course, Yoshishi just trying to clear out a wave. He's just like, come on, I want my gold now, get out of my face. Now in comes the rest of the squad again. The sleepy trouble bubble was already used, but Yoshishi's still playing it close to heart, says I'll burn the flash. Now it's going to be the root onto the Karma, who's going to get stunned up. The hole is going to be used, and I think he's just dead. Yeah, right on top of the equalizer. Goth boy Clique coming away with the first kill here in this mid lane skirmish. So Toxic takes about 50% HP damage. And Sticker's MVP, that's what you don't want to have happen if you're in that mid lane.
Just not respecting the missing things coming in from the bot side there, walking blind into the bush. And this pick, this Rumble pick for Yoshishi is really working out. It's not as if they flexed it. We already knew it was going to be a Jir, so it was 100% going to be a solo lane Rumble here. Got counter pick, still making it work. Love to see it.
Still very nice to see. Now we see another binding. Snickers just came back alive and is already getting forced around. This dragon coming up means that there's not a duel in the mid lane, and Bobkins, I don't think, wins that. Actually comes away with it. What is that outplay? Bobkins lives with the sliver of health. That will be the only duel to occur here in the mid to bot side with this dragon now in play.
The win is nice. The fact that Bobkins is still sitting in Flame Spitter range for most of that fight is what concerns me here. That is not ideal positioning for the Zoe. And if that's going to happen now, if you start doing that in team fights, you don't even get a chance to participate here. Still, did even gold here. And from what we've seen of the resilience, the mental resilience of Cloud Dragon Esports, pardon me, they're perfectly fine. We've not really seen Goth Boy Clique's mental resilience in the late game just yet. Last game, they didn't get a chance to show that because of the way the compositions rolled around. I want to see them start making some proactive moves here. Look top again. Rainy Day is exposed. Gank it.
Like you said, is that opportunity we haven't talked about. So Toxic, of course, going for that tank build, is sitting 2-0-1, dead even with Zhao Gao. It looks like he is going, I think, for that Frozen or the Iceborne once again, but still, ever since that early stages, has not had as much impact as you might want to see. Now, Yoshishi is getting ganked once again, and just repeat, rinse and repeat over and over again. And actually, Sleeping Trouble Bubble went a little bit farther than expected. Nahor is now going to go ahead and eat 1 or 2 shots, but the follow-up damage is there, so Toxic's going to try and duel it out. That's going to be the bind going out, and the exhaust, which really drops Zhao Gao's health. That is going to be all they wrote. 1-for-1 trade in that mid lane. Rapisack's now going to go ahead and pop that Dominus. And Rainy Day is going to go ahead and try and do it. That's the Ignite kill. Doesn't even need the Hextech ultimatum.
That's a 1v1 unassisted there. I'm scared because Rainy Day is starting to pop off here. And remember how I was saying, please gank top? It's no longer now just get ahead, gank top. It's more let's keep Rainy Day down, because that's not good for you when they can start 1v1ing your top laner.
And not just that, I feel Camille brings a lot more to the table late game than Renekton, right? Yes, Renekton now is transferred into kind of that mid-game status with the item builds. And Ellervold, you don't want to meet Louis Vuitton in the face, plant into the wall. No, you hate to see it. ADC on ADC action, and the skirmish win so far going in CDE's favor.
Well, the Black Shield coming out immediately to counter that. Now are not caught shopping there, able to reply. But that these 1v1s to the side lane, this is good news for Cloud Dragon Esports, that they are able to continue finding this right now. And Goth Boy Clique, it feels like they're left scrambling a little bit. Now we're constantly having to go mid to deal with all the pressure from Xiao, from Bobkins here. So Toxic as well. I don't remember the last time we saw So Toxic look for something in the side lanes either.
He hasn't had the opportunity, right? We're seeing Zhao consistently forcing Udyr's hand every single time, right? Every time So Toxic wants to do something, he has to kind of notice, hey, enemy jungle in the mid lane, enemy jungle in the top side, whatever. And he's forced into following. And that is one of the, I want to say probably the best way if you're trying to duel and trying to take care of such a, you know, kind of loose cannon jungler. You force them to go to a single lane and you immediately nullify all the options that they have.
Yeah, and because Xiao is the one kind of pulling So Toxic there, Xiao is the one who gets to decide where he wants to go. Is he actually ganking mid, or is he just faking out? It's working for now here. This bot side, though, for all that, every time we look down here, it's Louis Vuitton and Snickers kind of winning the lane. Their turret's kind of low, and with a Caitlyn, that should be a take that we see in the not so distant future.
Rainy Day actually took 2 tower shots, was able to bait one out.
What?
Second in a row, this time with no ignite, and Rainy Day is officially just off the chains. That is going to be the Prey Seeker landing. Louis Vuitton is going to go ahead rush in. Snickers is not going to be able to fight any longer, and the collateral damage nets it. Ellervold is going to get the tower, but I mean, at the expense of 2 lives. That's not what you want. Face first into that ace in the hole, and Snickers eats it all. Oh, this is disaster strike for Goth Boy Clique with only a minute to the Infernal Drake.
And it might look close. It might look like Rainy Day almost died. It might look like Snickers was kind of overconfident as well, taking those shots. Really, it's not. If anything, they're like, those were clean kills. They have significant leads, and the side lanes, we already said, were a problem. It's only getting bigger right now. Who do you send? I think if you send So Toxic bot side, it's still not going to be enough. They could even 2v3 potentially still pick up a kill. Top side, same thing as well. And now, Bobkins is the one lane they can look to gank.
Yeah, that's going to be the Soul Shackles used, but the rest of the team is here to body block, and I mean, that's what you want. That's going to be a very nice binding, but what can follow up? So Toxic is chasing down, and he's getting poked out. He's tanked. He doesn't do the damage, and the rest of the squad is here to follow up. The fight will most likely not occur, as Eller really doesn't want to try and 1v4 the squad, but with the health bars low, that's the exact best time that you want to have it. Of course, Dragon is up, and that will put them on soul point if CDE are able to collect.
Yeah, they should be able to here. Equalizer still not up and available. And the Hextech ultimatum certainly is. They've got the numbers advantage, and I think Rappy Smack's making a good call to take the turret instead. What on earth?
Bobkins getting the snap kill right there. So well done. And they do it. That is the 3rd Dragon in Goth Boy Clique, right? Game number 1 looked so solid, looked like they were able to control the early game, and then here it's falling apart, man, at the seams.
Yeah, and you know what? Like I always thought with Cloud Dragon Esports, the name means that they want Cloud Dragon specifically. I'm starting to think it's the Cloud Dragon Preservation Society more than anything else. Because the last game, it took a long time to take that second Drake, and they didn't take it. This game, 17 minutes, and you're already at soul point. They are taking dragons pretty much on spawn for the most part here, and they're accelerating the pace of the game here. They're already in a good position, and when that Baron comes up, that's just another tool in their pocket, another objective they can use to drag you around to. They've got better or catch and poke potential as well, so as long as they deny the vision, Goth Boy Clique are not going to be happy when that Baron spawns.
And to take a look at some of the items, right, we're seeing mythics pretty much come out for everyone, and on the flip side we see it as well, right? Yoshishi went for the proto belt in a situation where I don't think he's going to be chasing anyone, and he's 2-3-1, right? I have to give him props though. Even 2, 3, and 1, his equalizers have actually been fairly solid, right? We saw 1 or 2 of them being able to catch out Sneakers in prime position. We've seen him be able to use the flame starter to his great advantage in situations, right? Taking out Bobkins very close down in some of these trades. But I mean, I feel we're not going to see those big equalizers, the ones that chunk everyone for like 10% every single time it ticks.
I mean, technically, Proto Belt's passive is magic penetration there. And compare that to that Night Harvester, which is ability haste. You do need to land those big ultimates because you don't get as many of those ultimates. They're supposed to be burning right through here. And to give credit to Yoshishi, the ults have been pretty good for the most part. It just, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think we're going to see much more, but rather than Yoshishi, it's just because there's no CC to lock them down. There's no setup here, and Yoshishi just has to make the equalizers count on his own.
Well, hopefully the rest of the team can start following up on it, because that's really where we see a lot of, a lot of the team play come in and a lot of the hope. Oh my lord!
That is not okay.
Eller got a massive surprise right there. Might get another one, immediately backs up. That was a single paddle star. Bro, you can't do that to an ADC when you still don't have your hyper shot horizon or whatever it's called. My gosh.
I mean, this is why I think Zoe's kind of busted here, and I guess this is the reason why almost every other team banned Zoe against Big Fat Bobkins, because it doesn't matter if you struggled in lane. It doesn't matter when you're down CS here. You scale with items and you scale with levels. You will be fine as time goes along. And they are continuing to let Ealer try and lane into Bobkins here. To me, this is just a risky call at best.
It's really looking a bit shaky, and I mean, we're trying to take a look. Oh, one? Okay. No. We're good. The burn doesn't go through anymore. I think it stays on 1 HP still. That's something that it does, Happy days. Uh-oh, sleeping. That is a big pop. Again, this time not as much damage as we thought it would be. So Eller still gets to live, but I mean, that's it hurts, and you're not gonna like to see this. I have no other ways to explain it. Watching your ADC get paddle start twice and have to run away back to base is not fun League of Legends.
No, it's not. Ealer doesn't get to play League of Legends. You're playing dodgeball and farm simulator. You're not playing League of Legends at this point. And it's not going to get better, unfortunately, for your AD carry. You don't usually get to fit too much magic resistance into the build, and one item isn't exactly going to cut it. But for Gothboy Clique, one thing they have done pretty well so far is mitigating a lot of those kills here. They have got themselves more turrets. And frankly, when I look at their lane assignments for the most part here, they continue to get pressure with Rappy smacks in these side lanes. I think right now, Louis Vuitton, that's not a favorable matchup, and Louis has to be careful. If anything, Rappy might be able to find a kill, and if they get a kill, they should be able to get a turret as well.
Yeah, taking a look at the differentials, I mean, you can see the pressure up, and now it looks like Gothboy Clique have finally gone on kind of the offensive push here, right? The Retro was shot mid tower, finally loses down, and they have actually been up in terms of tower advantage, right? For all the kills that have come through, they've actually done fairly well in that respect. And can they capitalize on it a little bit more? Can they continue putting themselves in the lead right there? Well, now they're going to go ahead, teleport in. This is going to be a full 5-on-5 skirmish over this dragon, which I think is the right call. Let's see if they can maintain. It'll be up to CDE if they want to go flash in with the dominance. Rappy Smash trying to make the play. Equalizer goes down. Little bit disjointed. Now the follow through. Rainy Day is going to go ahead, zone out Rappy Smash, but he is going to get rooted and exhausted. Can they follow through? A nice little jump in. Louis Vuitton follows up. That's going to be collateral damage, dropping the health bars #1. Make it a second, and everyone's on the run. The Ignite takes down. That is going to be a sleeping trouble bubble dance and double kill. Bobkins takes it home, and Rainy Day wants to take the horror's life. There it is. Ace at 22 minutes. Cloud Dragon Esports running away with it.
What is this replay we're watching, Orbital? Bad call at Dragon, goes down, they lose Dragon, they lose Soul, they lose Baron, and if this is anything like last game, it's just going to be a cleanup from here on out. Yeah, there you go, they're going for Baron right now.
RMC, this is something that I rarely ever do while casting. I love, you know me, I love giving benefit no matter what. That is something that I try and pride myself on. That entire team fight looked like a shattering of mental concentration and coordination from Gothboy Clique. A dominant flash on targets that all should have their summoners up. that Louis Vuitton has cleansed, and then an equalizer just to try and catch something was the most disjointed I've seen Gothboy Clique be so far.
And to a certain extent, it does feel like comm issues coming through, same as game one here when they made the call to initiate. It just didn't feel like everybody was on the same page. There's pressure for them to perform because the Infernal Soul was on the table. If they don't win that fight, they lose Soul, the game gets so much harder. So I understand why they pulled the trigger. It's just the way they pulled the trigger, the setup wasn't quite there. And now for this particular game, it's kind of looking dire here for Gothboy Cliques. Their backs are going to be up against the wall here. And you haven't won a single team fight. Yoshishi's equalizer looks bad because there was no follow-up. The original put down, the location it got put down wasn't that bad. You just have no follow-up, and Eeler can't get into the fight. Nahor can't get into the fight there. This time, even if you do get everything perfect in equal numbers, you're just down way too much gold.
Yeah, and to you were talking about replay almost a game number one. Same time minutes, right? 10 minutes it's been since the last kill for Gothboy Clique. And yes, they got a few more global objectives this time, but they have gotten 0 dragons for themselves, right? That was a clean sweep on that global objective. And now, not only do Cloud Dragon Esports, they get their second Infernal Soul of the game, they have a much better composition to utilize it, right? You have 3 champions that pretty much love poke. That's all they want to do. And they can utilize it so well.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking what happens when that CP Trouble Bubbles lands any follow-up pretty much, and with the pops coming in from multiple members, you're almost at Yoshishi right there, down to 40% health, and I don't think the CP Trouble Bubble even landed, so that's just flat poke coming out with Baron here, without a single Ocean Drake to help Gothboy Clique out. These pushes with the Baron are utterly deadly.
Oh, well, you know, someone get bound under tower. Rappy Smacks has to burn the dominance just to stay alive in a 4v5 tower save situation. As down on the bot side, that is Rainy Day going ahead and just collapsing that inner tower with that final shot from the Baron Empowered Cannon minion. Mid lane is open. It looks like Cloud Dragon Esports are wanting to finish this off as quickly as possible. Inhibitor goes down. That's 5 members strong. They're looking for a kill and possibly the game here. Now they go ahead, jump in, and that's going to be a follow-up. Collateral damage is used right in the back line. Rainy Day goes, and that's going to be solo out. Louis Vuitton gets one. Can they follow up with more? Yeah, killer is. He goes in. Double kill for Louis Vuitton. He wants it all. He gets a triple. Can he follow up with the quadra? Possibly more. Another Power Star lands, so Toxic is fairly tanky still, so might not be able to follow through. That is going to be them sitting in the base as Nahor and So Toxic watch the enemy team just pepper them with shots. However, Zhao Gao is eating up the towers. Remember, he's not exactly a tanky Graves. And they did lose Rainy Day, so that might just be a hold set. Flash in. Louis Vuitton says he wants more. Couple tower shots and his shield, though, will net his health bar. Town goes to shut down. Nahor somehow finds the enemy jungler, but, I mean, they're going to try and finish it.
No!
No.
If you wanted to finish it, you do it early. Is there a body block?
What?
No!
What? No!
No, this is disaster.
They might not be able to get more. That's still going to be the kill. Zoe is very strong, but Eller is a little bit stronger, and now they're going to follow through. Snickers is going to go ahead and get followed up on by So Toxic. The tether might be able to slow it down. No connection, so he is going to try and keep running away. So Toxic can chase this. This is a support Karma. You're not worried at all. And my gosh, just a few combinations mistook, and a very heavy overstay means that a prolonged ace happens, and CDE just possibly just laughing in their communication room.
I mean, you can tell that was suboptimal play. They knew it. They chose to do it. And that's your call to leave the base. You shouldn't be sitting on the steps of their fountain trying to fight that there. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Supers took down the other Nexus turret. So the Nexus right now is wide open. Rainy Day did also manage to take the top lane inner turret, so they're still in a commanding lead. They still have a ton of gold right now, and with the Graves, with the Zoe, with the Kai'Sa, with the Camille, all of them pretty much can get over walls. So Gothboy Clique cannot leave their base with Elder coming up in just under a minute and Baron just over a minute.
That was the circus music playing in Cloud Dragon Esports head, and them just running with the show right there. So we'll see if it happens again, though. Still a lot of gold in their pocket. We go ahead, take a look at what they did. They went back, picked up many of them sitting on 3 items. You can see 3.5 currently sitting for Louis Vuitton. So he's very happy. Very sadly, Bobkins, his Magi Soul Stealer, knocked back down to 10 stacks. I believe he had 20. So that's kind of sad. You know, we all sit there kind of wishing that we had 25 stacks, but not going to happen this time. And now the entire bottom side of Goth Boy Clique's jungle has been overtaken. All wards littered through. And again, they have to wait. They cannot even try to contest for this Elder Drake.
Just having Rainy Day look at them funny in the mid lane means that they've got to send multiple members, and there's just a Steric's Gauge and a Giant's Belt, and that bar already looks so thick.
Oh, that is a very quick Elder Dragon take, and actually I wasn't expecting it to go down that quickly, and it was just 2 members. It was just Louis Vuitton and Zhao Gao, and they're not even going to wait for Baron. They say, we don't need to wait for Baron. Let's go ahead. We have the execution factor. Equalizers are used to clear 3 minions, and the follow through, an immediate Zanya's used, and Yoshishi just leaves himself out to dry collateral damage. Not going to be able to find someone. That's the Hextech Ultimatum, finding Nahor's life, and Rappy Smacks, I don't think he's able to help out here. He is going to go ahead, watch his team fall, as that is going to be the Nexus going down. GG. That is Cloud Dragon Esports moving up to 2-0.
That was kind of brutal to watch, Orbital. That was not what I expected here coming into the grand finals. And there's a lot to unpack, I feel like, from this particular game here. Starting in the top lane, Rappy Smacks went 1-5-1. And Rainy Day got 2 solo kills that I can recall in that top lane. That is huge, because we already spoke about the fact that Rainy Day's carry performances have not looked amazing. And this one, it certainly did. The other thing I want to point out now is the bot lane. Louis Vuitton and Snickers won that lane handily. And Caitlyn Morgana is a lane that is very, very punishing. Is normally a lane that dominates. Granted, Karma's got the speed buffs. It's hard to land Dark Binding, but just the range advantage of a Caitlyn over a Kai'Sa should make that favored early for them. It wasn't. It really wasn't. They just kind of lost control right off the bat. So for Goth Boy Clique, they cannot afford to draft themselves these sort of compositions with 0 synergy, where you're losing multiple lanes and you don't have a good way back into it. The good news, though, was Yoshishi. The Rumble looked good. The setup wasn't there. I would like to see setup for this Rumble, because the Rumble itself worked in lane, had some good positioned equalizers. You just need someone to hold them down. So draft issues, I think, can be fixed between game 2 and game 3. And though Cloud Dragon Esports won, their draft didn't look that great either.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do. And again, it is 2-0. Has to be a reverse sweep for Goth Boy Clique if they want to win these finals. It is going to be a long and arduous journey, and Cloud Dragon Esports one step away from sweeping these finals here in the Junior League for Unified Premier. And I mean, I can't wait to see what this third game has to offer, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more League of Legends action. And we are back and ready for what could either be a 3-0 scenario or the start of a reverse sweep. Now, the 3-0 scenario, not like we had kind of predicted in the early stages, right? We had talked about how Goth Boy Clique might be the one to come out with a 3-0 with how they play and how they push the tempo. But Cloud Dragon Esports surprising us at every turn, and they have a chance to cement themselves as the strongest of the UJL spring split here with 3 over one of the most, I want to say, early game aggressive teams that we've seen.
For sure here. But overall, I don't want to count my chicks before they hatch here, just because this is still Cloud Dragon Esports. They could show us and go for the full 5 here. That is potentially something they could do. And Goth Boy Clique, they might bounce back. Like we said, we've not really seen them pressured before. So this will be, I think, the first time we're really seeing them with their backs really up against the wall, down 2 games here. And while game 2 didn't look very good, I have faith that they can, bounce back, get at least 1 game here. And that's how a reverse sweep starts, is you get 1 game and then another and then another.
It's that easy. Just win, Forehead. And of course, the other question is, we saw, I dare say, a mental shakeup by Goth Boy Clique, and I really want to see if they can mentally bring themselves back into it, right? Bring that team synergy back, because there were plenty of opportunities, I think, for them to come out with a victory. It's just needed to be a little bit more precise on some of these engagements, some of these targets. Now, we did get information that there has been a swap aside, so Goth Boy Clique will be on red side, Cloud Dragon Esports will be on blue. And considering that Cloud Dragon Esports have pretty much 2 or 3 scenarios that they enjoy specific champions, like that Kog'Maw, like that Seraphine, this might bode very well for them or very poorly, depending on how the ban set out. We are into the pick and ban phase, of course, so we'll see what they decide to ban first, down to 5 seconds already, and we'll see what they opt for. It's gonna come down to the wire and nothing. All right,
You might have the wrong draft there, Orbital. They remade the lobbies. You gotta double check on that.
All right, everyone just make fun of me real quick. Everyone make fun of me. We are in. Yep, yep. Shh. No one saw that. No one heard that. Cut it from the final reel. Same bans pretty much as last time. So we do see the Nocturne and the Chen still banned away. On the flip side, the Seraphine and Tristana. I foresee a Kog'Maw ban coming out here, quite possibly. You just don't want to give that one over.
To a certain extent, I feel like the draft in the second game is going to have very little bearing on the drafts in game 3, or at least so I hope, because frankly, the drafts didn't really make too much sense in game 2 here. So I don't mind that they're running it back. And I kind of like the fact, actually, that they've swapped sides for Goth Boy Clique, because we've seen them get first pick, and we've seen it not really have the biggest impact. I want to see what they can do with the counter pick now coming in. We've seen both Bobkins as well as, I believe it was Xiao, who got the counter pick in game 1. Okay, that's kind of weird, but we've seen the Bobkins counter pick work for R5. I want to see what Goth Boy Clique can do with it. Rappy Smacks here has not had an opportunity to really shine, and Yoshishi has done well with that Rumble pick, even though he picked it blind. So what can you do with the counter here?
No, well, you also have the opportunity to figure out what you want to do against the Rumble. That can be flexed into the jungle and mid, and they go, hey, safety might be our top priority. Ezreal picked up for Alir, who saw a pretty good game 1, had a little faltering in game 2, and now has the mobility to potentially bring back a victory in game 3.
Ezreal, great ADC, good pick. The buffs this patch with the Divine Sunderer increase, that's great. Ezreal, good champion. But R1, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Ezreal R1, R2. I think that's a pick. You go R3, R4, R5 here when you know a little bit more, when you've seen what you're picking into here. Now, with that Udyr pickup, I think the Udyr was fine for So Toxic. While So Toxic wasn't able to match the pressure from Xiao, So Toxic was able to find kills, the assists. Where she went, she managed to have impact at least. So I think that's fine. But for the side here now of Cloud Dragon Esports, we saw the Rumble in Yoshishi's hand without setup. Not great. I want to see some sort of AoE CC coming down from them to really enable this Rumble pick.
Yep. And to follow through, of course, the Cho'Gath, it was banned away in game 1, was open before, but they are going to take it. Now, we have seen that this is a kind of open special for both top and mid. I have a feeling it might be mid. If it's mid, I'm not going to like it, but if it is top, I think it will be amazing. Again, blind picking that for for Rainy Day in the top side will help so much, I think.
I mean, we already seen Rainy Day really knows how to pilot those tanks here, and Cho'Gath is not only a tank but also does give you kill pressure. So we've seen Rainy Day carry, we've seen Rainy Day tank. We're about to see Rainy Day do both.
Just every option under the rainbow. Have a blast on that one. The set though picked up. We saw this matchup back in the semifinals as well when the Cho'Gath was brought out. So we'll see how well it plays out. Again, very close range composition coming out once again for Gothboy Clique, kind of keeping in that momentum. And of course, when you play against a close range, you don't want to deal with that Thresh. It was banned away once, banned away here again from I believe it is, of course, Snickers MVP. The Gwen though, this time saying we flashed it before, might need to ban it away. Don't want to give that one to the top side.
Gwen into Cho'Gath definitely works out here. You can't really punish hard enough, so you just don't want to let that be an option. That hallowed mist to me honestly is super broken. I think it's really what makes it so difficult to trade with the Gwen here. She gets mobility, she gets the ability to do true damage, she out trades you, and hallowed mist allows her to ignore anything that she can't hit. If she can't hit you, you can't hit her, pretty much the situation, which is really strong. I'm not sure I agree with the Thresh ban necessarily with the Kai'Sa. It's not the greatest support here with a comp that wants to go in. The Zyra makes a lot more sense to me because of the Rumble here.
Yeah, just being able to lock everyone down. And the final ban, of course, is potentially going to be that Sylas. And I think after game one, it was kind of notified that, hey, Sylas can be a very big bully, especially with these big ticket equalizers, you know. And even the Feast, right? Feast, I think, is something that goes underrated. If you pick up the Sylas, you're like, hey, I have the Feast available. Let's go do Dragon or Baron and be able to secure it for ourselves over the Cho'Gath and Rumble. Now we go ahead, take a look, though. The Braum was hovered back in pick 3 for Gothboy Clique, and now they're going to go ahead, potentially lock it in and get themselves another CC advantage.
Okay, I actually like the Braum pickup here.
Oh, nope.
Oh, what?
Budget Sona coming out. Budget Sona. Budget. Wait, why did I say budget Sona? I'm thinking
that is
budget Seraphine. My brain does not want to work right now.
I'm shocked. I was actually gonna say I like the Braum because it's gonna block a lot of what Snickers likes to play here, such as the Sona, but they take it themselves. They deny it, and the reason why we don't see Sona a lot in meta play right now is because she's really squishy and she's not as safe as Seraphine here. You don't have to CC, you don't have to self peel, and it opens up for picks like Pyke, who's gonna just absolutely rip you to shreds in lane. Viego, Rumble, Cho'Gath, Cho'Gath Feast will probably hit you for almost all your health bar late game.
That is the true press R on a Sona when you can just walk up and chomp and feast. That is gonna hurt so much. But yeah, the Viego coming out, so Cho'Gath top. Viego still can be flexed between the Rumble and the Viego setup, so that is still a little bit up in the air. But I mean, this is looking, I have to say, from a compositional standpoint, more and more in favor of Cloud Dragon Esports currently.
Well, I have to agree with that so far with what we've seen. I mean, Ezreal, Sona, that's good, that's great, but again, I'm still not seeing that synergy come through from Gothboy Clique's draft here, right? Like your Udyr set, great. You know, what are you bringing for the team fight? Sona at this point is kind of just a disengage tool more than an engage tool with how your comp wants to work. The Urgot doesn't really fix that. So again, I have to favor the composition coming through from Cloud Dragon Esports right now. And so that's wait, let me do okay. So set mid, Urgot top here, and that's probably going to be a Cho'Gath mid more than likely. Viego jungle and Rumble top.
This feels like a lot of theory crafting for good reason, right? This is really, it goes from obvious lane matchups and obvious where's everyone going to go to where's the enemy placing their champion, right? It's kind of like a mid-game chess swap up. You get to decide where your pieces kind of go as you see them fall from your opponent, and that leaves a huge set of question marks for us, right? This is turning into 5D 6D chess, like a lot of people like to talk about. What matchups do we want to see? Which matchups do we not want to have, and which matchups do we want to avoid? I mean, taking a look, it feels like the Otis is, of course, on Cloud Dragon Esports. They have 3 members that can kind of lane swap around. So instead of saying where they should go, let's go ahead and talk about what matchups we want to see. RMC, what is the most favored matchup that you think that they could get with these mashup of pieces?
you want to try and avoid the Cho'Gath into the set, ideally here. And the nice thing is that as much as we talk about Rainy Day on the Cho'Gath, Bobkins actually plays it mid quite a lot in solo queue. So I think that's the one that's your least favorable matchup. I don't necessarily think that Rumble into set is necessarily a great matchup, but I think it's better than the Cho'Gath here. So yeah, that's probably where I'd say you want to go. And then Viego, I'd want to put in the jungle because Viego, much like Gwen, has a very rough early game. And that's why we see Gwen and Viego in the jungle, because then you don't have to interact as much as long as your lanes are on point. You can kind of play around that, protect that weaker Viego here. So yeah, to me, Viego jungle, and then just a question of Rumble and Cho'Gath, where are they going to go, which solo lanes?
Yeah, and you can constantly be swapping it up, right? These are two melees versus melee and a semi-melee range. So that is going to be the opportunities available. And I wouldn't be surprised to see 4 teleports being ran, right? This could very well just be a game of consistently swapping over, consistently deciding how they want to prep those lanes. So let's go to the lane that we know is exactly going to come out, right? The bottom lane. Louis Vuitton and Stickers MVP on the Kai'Sa Pyke, which I think fits their identity as a bottom lane very, very well. And on the flip side, Eller, Kvothe, and Nahor kind of going out on a limb here and trying something a little bit different. The Ezreal Sona in a situation in a game 3 that puts a lot of pressure on these picks.
Like we've seen Ezreal solo carry a game late, especially on this patch with the Divine Sunderer absolutely just shredding tanks. It's a possibility, but my problem is I don't even think they're going to get out a lane here. Pyke and into Ezreal Sona. Ezreal and Sona have to play so carefully. You get hit by one hook, one stun, and it's over pre-6. You just simply cannot get out. The burst damage is going to be so good. And as long as Pyke and Kai'Sa don't line up in a straight line for that crescendo there, then the Sona pick isn't going to help you in lane. These are picks you're picking for late game. Sona skills amazingly well. Ezreal skills amazingly well as well. But it's not for the lane.
Yeah, not for the lane, and not just not gonna have a fun time. I mean, we mentioned all the way back in game 1 at the beginning of this series how both these teams like to play through the bottom lane, like to kind of put a lot of pressure on them and give them the opportunities to carry. And yet in this situation, it's been kind of back and forth in terms of which side gets that upper hand, which side is given that priority, and which side has to play on their back foot. So far, again, it's been Cloud Dragon Esports that have come out ahead, whether by the skin of their teeth or by a mountains, an avalanche of success. Here in the final stretch, we do see their composition kind of have an upper hand here. We'll see if Goth Boy Clique are able to turn it around. Again, if they win this game, maybe momentum shifts to their end, but we'll have to wait and see. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with game number 3 between Cloud Dragon Esports and Goth Boy Clique. we are back with everything on the line. Goth Boy Clique 1 away from losing it all, and Cloud Dragon Esports 1 away from winning it all. We are into game number 3, and of course, 4 members straight into the mid. Hook goes wide, and So Toxic does not become first blood food.
I mean, might not have been killed, but now we're already taking a little bit of poke there, and that's just literally off the Acathian Rain. That does not bode well for in lane here.
Yeah, it's just, and we talked about it, right? Level there specifically. I believe it was patches that just sent through. I think it was like 2 or 3 ago that the Acathian Rain was specifically nerfed because it did too much damage in the early stages, right? Very specifically, it was nerfed to try and take down Kaisa, and yet it does about 15% of Sona's health. That's not good.
I mean, Sona's a caster minion, bro. I see her regular in the like that. That's how it do be, right? Like, she's a fellow caster minion, and you know what? Any bets, Orbital, on where we're gonna see first blood? All my money's down the bot lane.
whether it's, you know, one side or the other, most likely I agree. It's gonna be as soon as level 2 or 3. Well, now it just might be mid. Screw it. Bobkin's down to about 200 HP, and Yoshishi's like, yeah, cool. I'm cool with this. Have a blast. Try and step up in CS.
He's healing up that passive, and now that she's in the bot lane, they find the whore.
Yes! That is it. You called it, RMC. You are a prophet. You are a god. Nahor goes down for first blood.
A minion who knows other minions, and that's just brutal to watch. And right now, for Goth Boy Clique, because of the way the lanes are likely to pan out, we looked mid, and Bobkin's already back up to full health. Top side's probably going to be fairly even, maybe slightly Rumble favored. Everything's on So Toxic's shoulders here as the jungler, as the one matchup that is good to try and find advantages. So I want to see the lanes cooperate. I want to see that communication come down and set up ganks, try and make sure that they can keep in the game and they don't just get rolled in the side lanes.
I mean, try not to get rolled. I mean, you're going to have to deal with the rolling, I think, at this point. Now we see a couple fists go out and a straight up haymaker to the face. Bobkin says, I will take one and raise you another.
Snickers looking on the flag. I don't think they spotted him.
No, they didn't, and that's actually going to be the sign. So a lot of damage goes down, and Yoshishi is going to go in. Misses on that, but still gets the kill. Snickers MVP is going to save his mid laner's life.
Here's the thing, free 6 here, you're never going to get the gold, because the extra gold for Pyke comes from death from below there. So that is just straight gold going to Snickers' pocket, and Snickers on the Pyke this time can definitely carry. This is the game, if ever there was a game, for Snickers to be MVP.
I gotta agree. There's no other way to put it, to pick up 2 early kills, and especially since we said, right, the Cho'Gath versus Set matchup is one that's we feel slightly disadvantageous towards that Cho'Gath. It's good to see a first kill come through and help in terms of getting that sped up, right? So well done there. Now we see the Pyke roaming down bot once again. Rappy Smack's trying to duel it out, and now in the jungle, the 2 junglers are going to go at it. So Toxic is going to try her hand at taking out Zhao, and that actually might work. Yeah, dodge out on the Q knockup, and she gets a free kill. So Toxic gets a solo kill.
That's what we want to see, to not see a 3-0 right now. So Toxic finding the one sort of advantageous matchup they have, and the fact that they blew the flash in the mid lane and then kind of matched the roam top side there, that's a good read. They can continue to do that, and now Yoshishi just punishing onto Bobkins again.
One more attack is going to do it. Yeah, that's just death. Yoshishi paying back in spades the death that he took earlier.
So this mid lane right now, this mid jungle duo for Goth Boy Clique doing really well. That is something they can use. We're saying, you know, potentially 4 teleports. No, it's just 2 teleports right now, and it's in the top lane. So Yoshishi and So Toxic, if they can continue this shove, the next time they get a kill, I want to see them roam up, either get an objective or punish the overextended bot lane, maybe the top lane that's likely to push out as well.
MC, this is slowly turning into what it kind of feels like of a, you know, the jungle mid of Goth Boy Clique versus the bottom lane of CDE, right? Like this it feels like it's shaping up to be like that.
a little bit. And props to Ealer so far for actually keeping dead even in farm right now against Louis Vuitton. It does let Louis Vuitton get a very good back timing. They'll picked up the noon quiver here, but you're an Ezreal, right? Like you're just playing to be as even as possible. As long as you're not dropping plates left and right, as long as you're not dropping deaths left and right here, that's a win, and you take those.
Very little bit helps. And what helps is a Pyke consistently throwing shade straight to the mid, saying, I can try and take your life at any moment. That gives Bobkins, once again, a little bit of time to CS. He is keeping even for right now, but Yoshishi still rules the lane. And with Mountain Dragon coming up first, I think that's a huge shift. Now we're going to see the hook. It's going to land, go straight into the sun. And so Toxic is going to be on the receiving end. Flashes up and might have to flash out. Yeah, burns the flash. Is able to stay alive, but very aggressive coming out with the dragon in sight.
Dragon gone right away by pushing Sotox out. And to be fair, there really isn't a world in which Goth's boy Clique should be picking up any of the early dragons here, right? Like, you've got such a strong bot side. Mid lane, Bobkins is still doing okay, just has to be careful not to get ult in. And I'm worried for this dark corridor we're seeing in the river here, Orbital. There's one to spot out if Snickers leaves the bot lane, but if he's invisible, there's nothing. And that means that they constantly have to ping anytime they don't see Snickers in lane.
Doesn't matter in mid, at least. Yeah, we are waiting for the wards to go down. We're waiting to see where a lot of this vision starts to play. And if we don't, I mean, that's going to be dangerous for both sides, right? So Toxic has, once again, found an early kill, might be able to rotate into a second later. And that's what we want to see. You were talking about right from the Udyr in the early stages. We want to see So Toxic be that playmaker, be that person to really step up the pace. And already you can see the invade trying to cut off Viego's sense of getting any CS, sense of getting any palpable lead in the CS game, taking away that blue buff. So that's going to feel pretty good for the Udyr. And now potentially in the top side. Hook in the bot side though. Healer has to burn the flash. Or heal, I'm very sorry. And that's going to mean, once again, this level 6 and 5 is going to be that much more dangerous. Hook goes out. Is he going to land it? Lands it onto Nahor. Jeez, again and again, these duels are going straight in favor of Louis Vuitton and Snickers.
Well, Louis Vuitton has been out of mana for the last minute here. So all those trades, you get maybe one ability every 2 trades. If they had mana, those are kills over and over again. And I just worry the Knicks back once Louis Vuitton and Snickers get their mana up again. That becomes a kill lane, and Ealer and Nahor just have to kind of sit back, play back, and lose out on experience in CS.
They are going to go ahead and recall now. Let's see what they pick up. Again, 67 CS is plenty to pick up a Noon Quiver and a pickaxe. So huge back timing for Louis Vuitton. Level 6 also hit on the flip side for either both. So both ultimates are online. Support still need theirs, so not going to have a lot of that lockdown potential. The top lane, Rainy Day, so far has been able to keep himself in a pretty good position.
Snickers looking. They should be able to take this particular ward, and just the roaming out from Pyke right now it's just superior, right? They're able to apply pressure everywhere. And once Pyke hits 6 as well, the kill threat just spikes through the roof. Imagine the Cho'Gath Pyke double execute combo coming through bot lane. We already saw the damage you can do without that extra ultimate. Even topside here, Equalizer, it's just such a good setup, and it just gives Xiao so many options of whose soul you want to pick up.
Just that, let's talk about the implications that it has for the flip side, right? Whenever Snickers roams, Louis Vuitton is alone and should be punished, right? Like, that should be something that naturally occurs. Nahor and Ealer both have not been able to. Instead, they're actually falling further and further behind, which is like that should be the even trade, and they're not even getting the trade here. So that is going to be a go ahead and get a pull. That's actually a dash in, and so Toxic's actually here to fight it out. So this might be a good win for them. Snickers is going to go ahead, try and flash out, and Zhao Gao is going to try and help out now. Louis Vuitton uses the dash overkill instinct to get to safety. Now the stun onto So Toxic. No hook coming out just yet. Now top lane is also another gank. Is it going to get the kill? Actually brings Rainy Day straight into the front. And instead of the kills on the bot side, it is a trade of top laners. And that is the only kill that's happened in the last few minutes. Big health advantage, though, going over to Cloud Dragon Esports. No hook lands. They're going to try and jump in. Nahor has a flash under the tower. Still only level 5. Takes a couple chucks, and that's the first snipe and a stun under the root. Now they're going to try and follow up, and then 2 kills go over. Zhao actually gets a reset on the tower aggro, and they complete the dive. Cloud Dragon Esports gets so much down bot.
This happens as well. Rainy Day Respawns has TP. Rappy used his to get to that bot side. Way too late. Bobkins, can you get out here?
Is actually going to try and knock up and flashes over the wall after taking 50% HP damage. Ignite goes up, but he was able to get 2 plates. I want to point that out. 2 plates in that mid, which sets him on par, and he's been feasting his way to the healthy health bar. Well, the chickens say no.
Raptors just not letting you back here. However, I want to draw attention a little bit to that top side because Rappy Smacks is now going to fall behind significantly here. In fact, they've actually had to swap Ealer Koth up to the top lane in order to avoid losing more from that teleport play. And well, that's all well and good. Ezreal into Rumble. Yeah, you can actually lane. It's kind of a worse matchup in both ways because now Viego can look top, look for kills up there, and bot side, even with you're a little tankier, but you're still vulnerable to the damage that the Kai'Sa, that the Pike can put out.
Which makes it even worse because you have to protect that ADC. You leave the dragon undefended. So you can see Sotoxic giving this one up again. Yeah. But even in worse fashion, right? Nahor has been completely collapsed out of any experience in the game. Still level 5. I want to point that out. The champion that is most in need of a level 6 to be able to bring out a lot of damage, a lot of CC, is sitting on level 5. Should hit level 6 here. But that is such a large disparity. And my gosh, RMC, the League of Legends gods have blessed us with a 3rd game for Infernal Soul. I am loving this so much, and this might be a massive one to go for. Sotox is able to pick up that Rift Herald, and the fight is ensuing here. Rainy Day is going to go ahead and drop the equalizer. Now they're going to jump in, and now that's going to be the execute not landing. Death from low doesn't find any death, but execute with the Heartbreaker will. Zhao Gao goes ahead, steals a 2nd soul of Ezreal's. They will take a single kill for themselves, but again, Rift Herald most importantly goes into Sotoxic's pocket.
More than the plates that you can get with that, it's more important you deny that from the side here of Cloud Dragon Esports, because they're already such a strong early game team. You're looking to try and slow the pace down, and you can already see mid lane turret, if Herald hits that, it's gone right away. Shelly guarantees minimum 2 plates.
Won't go to them just yet. Again, only about a 2k difference, so in the early stages that's quite a bit, but if it's contained, that will bode well for Goth Boy Clique. A huge point of power, of course, Yoshishi, 2-1-0 so far, up a little bit in CS and already has a strike breaker, so still has that opportunity to kind of solo out Louis Vuitton, solo out Zhao Gao if they step out of range, and even Bobkins, right? Bobkins going for that AP build once again, so still kill threats available for this mid lane set.
Now, you mentioned that for Goth Boy Clique, they want to slow things down. If nothing happens, they should be fine. But Cloud Dragon Esports right now, what they're doing is working. Nothing's changed. No turrets have dropped yet, right? They can continue to do that 2v2 with that roaming Pike and absolutely punish. It works. Shall we drop bot side? That gets you some plates, but you can't really dive this. You are behind now. Is 7 does have the ultimate available here. For the side of Goth Boy Clique, though, they kind of do need to change things up a bit. Your matchups are not good in terms of Nahor and Ealer, and you need to protect that. Maybe send Yoshishi down or something here.
Yoshishi instead says he wants to fight Godzilla, and is winning in that fight, honestly. Won that fairly well with the Haymaker, the grab as well, and so overall everyone's doing what they need. That's going to be a couple auto attacks and one more jump in. That's all it's going to be. Rappy Smacks as well getting burned down, and so Toxic now gets pinched out, but the dodge is there. Dodge is one, but can't dodge a point blank stun. Now that's going to be the kill. Louis Vuitton goes ahead and eats away at that kill. Now 2-0-3 here at the early stages of the game.
They're picking up the pace on Cloud Dragon Esports. Before that, they were just looking at the lanes. They're actively invading the jungle now and just starving out Sotoxic. Sotoxic was looking to invade initially against that Viego. You can't do that bot side anymore. That's not your jungle. And once that happens, that's not your turret either. Because suddenly, if they control your jungle, you step up before you even reach your turret with a Pike, with a Viego, with a Kai'Sa. They just jump you in lane, in transition.
Want to tag along with that. in terms of how Cloud Dragon Esports have dictated the pace of the late game, they don't allow mistakes later, right? In both games where they got a lead, they were able to significantly reduce how many kills went through, how many mistakes were made, and be able to close it out pretty cleanly, right? So I want to see them be able to do it again. That's going to be the equalizer going down, but I think this is still a kill. Rappy Smack's going ahead, grabbing that tag and bag for a kill on the top side. First one for him to start things off.
Very, very good room. This is what I was talking about when I said that they need to change up the lane assignments a little bit here. They send Ealer mid, the shorter lane here, the lane that should be getting more attention, and they start rotating Yoshishi, that winning lane you mentioned, Orbital, to the other lanes to get them ahead. Urgot into Rumble is slightly Rumble favored, but it's pretty even for the most part. So jungle intervention definitely does change things. Now, with that bot lane turret down, though, for Goth Boy Clique, it's unlocked Louis Vuitton and Snickers, and if you can't track them with vision here, we might see a flurry of kills incoming.
I want to see that so bad. Snickers goes ahead, gets another hook, and the flash for flash follow means a solo kill for them. Doesn't even get Zhao Gao an assist.
That's just me. Well, he gave the gold at least, right? So,
no, I don't think so. Oh, yeah. No, it was all Snickers.
That is so unnecessary.
Yeah, now they're going to try and do the same under the Yoshishi because Zhao Gao has his own execute. He doesn't want to use it, though. He goes ahead and eats up that kill. Disaster is striking on every single front, and it looks like the blitzkrieg of Cloud Dragon Esports just running through the map is starting to take hold.
Yeah, we might not see a Cloud Drake or a Cloud Soul this series here, Orbital, but we're seeing the movement speed buff, the tempo speed buff to Cloud Drake Esports right here. They go on to Dragon almost on spawn once again here. The attempted steal, not even close. The damage is just not there. Divine Sunder is completed, but it's just not enough.
Yeah, I knew this was gonna happen. That's gonna be the try, but that is such a good equalizer and follow up. Tower goes down, and Louis Vuitton lives. Louis Vuitton is allowed to live. Zhao Gao takes that kill and immediately snatches the soul of Ujir, and that. Oh man, I saw that, and it's like I could see 2 seconds into the future. Louis Vuitton just going ham.
At that moment, that Orbital knew they were screwed. Like,
freeze frame, let's go.
I also want to point out the follow-up from Xiao as well on that, because they tagged So Toxic perfectly on the equalizer. Like, So Toxic stepped out, stepped back in for 1 second, and that's the frame. They stun you, the burn comes down. That's a half a turret dive right now. Your outer turrets, mid and bot are gone. Top lane is probably next on the chopping block.
Yeah, they are just systematically taking over this game. And honestly, I want to talk about how much Snickers has done in this game, and we talked about it in games 1 and 2. Able to follow through on a lot of those kills with that Karma, you know, speeding up and helping out. And now with this Pike, out of nowhere, really picked it up. And, you know, seeing the opportunity to play the Pike, which we haven't seen very much. Now we're going to see the top lane. See an opportunity, Rainy Day going ahead, getting chunked out. A lot of the guns going down, and Ultimate actually wears out just at the wrong time. And he might actually live. Going to drop the equalizer down, trying to help out Zhao Gao finish off this kill, but the trade is there. Remember, Urgot's so strong. A flash stun is going to net the kill. Now it's a 1-for-1 trade. Top lane still going out, and so Toxic cannot trade this one out. Zhao Gao is going to go ahead and be allowed to stay on the top side after taking the tower shot.
I mean, better to take against the Urgot than the Viego. Viego is super, super squishy, and look where Snickers is. Of course, Snickers is top and looking to find a pick here. Great side.
So Toxic's just like, come on, why you gotta do this to me? Oh, they're actually baiting. Can he get it? Nope. Okay, so able to complete the recall, gifted over, and that will be the tower going down. Louis Vuitton is going to go ahead, head up here, collect some of this tower gold, and that is going to put it at a 3-1 tower advantage with, I believe, as closing in on a 6K advantage.
Roughly there, and it will hit 6K, you know, once they pick up this Herald as well. They're going to try and burn it down. Their window is pretty small. They've got less than a minute, but the damage is more than enough with all these members here. And once they pick up the Herald here, those inner turrets, it's a repeat. Game 2, Orbital. Are they not going to fish it? Oh, okay. Yeah, you do want to take that. Oh,
they're waiting for the feast. Is it going to... Oh, my God. I don't think it was going to be stolen, by the way. That is a True Shot Barrage, level 1. Not going to take it, but to have so much freedom to gift over a feast stack to Bobkins, you know they're in a good spot.
Bobkins. So here's the unfortunate part for Bobkins. At no point in this game are you ever really gonna beat the set in the 1v1. Like past an hour mark. Not that we're gonna do that. Rainy, not again.
This is just rinse and repeat of the one champion that they kind of feel they can kill right now. So Yoshishi will grab a second, and that will be all they wrote for the bot lane.
Yeah, so back to my point earlier, Cho'Gath is not going to ever win the 1v1. So as fed as the Cho'Gath is going to be, you're just kind of dissuading everyone else here. And Yoshishi will continue to be this threat. This 3-2-1 already. It's not so much So Toxic ganking. So Toxic's job was to get Yoshishi ahead, and that's done. Now Yoshishi doing the rest of the work.
That pull was so good. And So Toxic is going to fall. Snickers deserving of his name. Now they can follow up. That's going to be a jump in. Eller might be on the next on the chopping block again. Double. Crescendo actually lands, so that's the turnaround kill shutdown for Yoshishi. Maybe they can find one more. Snickers doesn't have flash. Up in just a few seconds now, the rest of the team is here. Knock up onto the backline, into the Everfrost, and Louis Vuitton immediately says, let's go. Equalizer to slow it down in Yoshishi. He chased so far and is going to get piked. Rainy Day gets his second kill of the game and gets some revenge for some of these really rude ganks.
Yeah, lucky that Xiao Gao is dead right now. If they had Herald available for this push here, that's mid lane turret down. Rappy can't defend it. As it stands though, Burn is up. And at the rate they're going with double Kraken Slayer here, Prowler's Claw for Snickers, they can definitely turn and burn that. Dragon coming up in 20 seconds. And this is Soul as well. Goth Boy Clique can't fight this, but they can't leave it alone either.
So who do they pick out? I mean, Rappy Smacks has done very well for himself. Not exactly the most damage heavy, but you find Snickers, you might have an opportunity. However, he does have his flash up. He's very, very slippery. Rest of the squad might not be able to help. And Yoshishi's still in base, so Rappy Smacks goes a little bit too early and tries to flash his way out. However, that's a stun. Bobkins gets another stack. He is so dang big. He has 10 stacks. Feast stacks OP. And now no one can go for this dragon. They're going to try to steal, though. What can they do? The chase out is real, and I think that's just it. Yeah, 3 games, 3 Infernal Souls, and So Toxic. She will not live to see another day. Snickers grabs the execute. So much more gold going in. Nahor now going to get run down. Again, the squishy Shona literally gets punted to death. The bops on the head are real. Yoshishi flashes in, tries to drag back someone into the tower range, but it just doesn't work. Snickers gets another execute, and this is Cloud Dragon Esports running away with the game. An ace at 22.5 minutes to place them firmly in the lead at 21-8.
I cracked this in him real easy here. Rappy Smack's the only one back up, and I love the Serpent's Fang for Snickers right now because it works in so many members, and Rappy Smacks, you're not safe.
Yeah, shield is gone. Passive is popped. Inhibitor falling now at a fairly early stage. Oh my gosh. One pull off of a support pike with the soul is destroying someone's HP bar. Not So Toxic is going to try, but he realizes even the tower is not safe. No, she goes ahead and falls. The death is there, and another tower goes down. This is just chaos brewing for CDE.
Backing. They're still pushing on here, Orbital. Like this is too much.
Oh yeah, now they're gonna get punished. This is such like game number 2. They go ahead, lose a few members right there. That's gonna be over the wall. Goes Louis Vuitton again. The ignite went down, and the Fear Beyond Death has been used. Rappy Smacks doesn't have the one available. Now they're gonna try and turn it. Haymaker though, keeping Yoshishi alive and actually gets to finish off. 2 more auto attacks are gonna do it though. Louis Vuitton might be able to actually solo this one out. One more auto attack passive, can't find it though. And that will be Alir going ahead, getting a nice shutdown. An extra, I think, 550 gold into his pockets.
Another Orbital. 550 gold. Bounty, great, good. On the Ezreal, even better. But let's take stock of where Ezreal's at. Divine Sunrow.
No. Oh,
that's
no.
Really it. Oh.
Godzilla over the wall.
Oh, he whipped it. He didn't get the kill with the beast.
It's so mean. It's so scary. Like, imagine just a giant stepping over a wall, because I feel that's actually what the animation should be, is just Cho'Gath gingerly steps over the wall and is just like, I'm here now.
Not quite big enough. I feel like you need Gargoyle Stoneplate and the Frostfire Gauntlet as well to reach this and look right instead of just hopping over. But the sentiment is appreciated. So Toxic, that's not your jungle anymore, buddy.
Uh-oh. She's trying, dipping and dodging left to right. Dodges one, doesn't get tagged on the Everfrost, and is out. So Toxic is able to survive. And most crucially, as Baron is up, as long as the enemy jungler is up, it still poses a threat in the Smite fight.
You're facing a feast, you're facing a smite. It's tough, but it's possible. Their vision did, I believe, just get cleared out here, so they don't actually see the health on that Baron, and it's down to about 5,000, 4,000, 3,000. You're peeling off.
So they might actually be a little bit worried. Now they're going to try and chase again, 2k health, and they're going to go over the wall. Crescendo is used, doesn't really land on the win. Zhao Gao is very, very low though, because the Baron was spinning on him and Louis Vuitton straight into the back, equalizing them on multiple members. They're all going to go very, very quiet. Louis Vuitton is going to get dragged in. That's a huge one, and the fear goes on everyone, but the damage has already been done. Rapid Smack is going to go down, and Yoshishi is just going to try for a little extra damage. Doesn't even get the stun off, and is gonna get the haymaker. Huge haymaker, takes 2 lives. Rainy Day, I don't think is gonna win this one in any capacity. Haymaker should be up in a little bit, but the flame spitter is on. Is he gonna get it? No! 2-in-1 fight. Yoshishi cleans it up, and out of nowhere, Gothboy Clique get an ace for 4.
Yishi, this man's back must be broke, my goodness. Last game on the Rumble, this game on the set, he stops the Baron, he stops the Nexus turrets from going down as well. Back and forth here, 7-5 and 5. My only problem is that, Orbital, is this, it still doesn't feel like it's enough. Ealer Cold, now with the completed Mira mana, with the Last Whisper, you've got armor penetration, but Bobkins has bars and bars and bars of health, 3,400, and it's building straight AP.
Not just that, you keep in mind that the only reason Zhao Gao was low and multiple members were actually low was because of Baron, right? Baron was still up, and I feel like it was a little bit greedy on the side of Cloud Dragon Esports. They wanted the kills plus the Baron, so they were trying to go for both, and they paid the price, right? That I feel is very inevitable. They could have finished Baron off. You have the executes, you should have been able to finish it, and you just didn't. So that same mistake most likely should not happen again.
No, definitely not. Rafi now has teleport available, but doesn't have a good ward to teleport to here. And you can tell they're looking for Snickers, but Snickers has a GA now.
He doesn't care. That's going to be the equalizer laid down on a split fight. Raj, Urgot is going to teleport right in the middle, and Crescendo lands. And now again, Yoshishi is happy with the fight. Again, it is very split though. Louis Vuitton getting soloed out, and the rest are going to collapse. Now it's going to be the execute, not going to land, so that is out for this fight. But they have lost their jungler. Rappy Smack's now happy about trying to take it up, but his team is falling in the wayside. That's going to be another soul taken. Yoshishi is going to get executed, and that should be it. Ealer is going to go down. One more Praise Seeker to end it all. And the ace now in favor of Cloud Dragon Esports. They won the first 2 games. This one looked a little bit better. And yes, Yoshishi tried his best, but I think that's going to be the inhibitors and possibly some Nexus towers.
Orbital, this is where you kind of go, call an ambulance, but not for me, except that we're not the players. I'm still going to say it anyways, because Cloud Dragon Esports promised me a heart attack of a game, of a series. This wasn't it. This is a clean 3-0, and frankly, they looked utterly dominant.
Yeah, they look so good, and whether that's because maybe a little disrespect coming out in terms of Gothboy Clique, but surgical precision, Cloud Dragon Esports came to play, and they are rewarded handedly. Not only that, the gift of the gods, right? 3 Inferno Souls to play with. I mean, where do we ever see that in League of Legends?
I mean, it's super rare, the entire series here, and they got it almost every single game. So.
No, they did. I think they got all 3 straight up. It's craziness coming out, but again, surgical precision, every single member stepping up at the right times, and I think it's shown through here for Cloud Dragon Esports to take this series home
for sure here. And I know that Gothboy Clique didn't look like a finalist team in this series, besides maybe the first game, but I have to acknowledge how good they are as a team to make it here. Up to tonight, they were not just winning, they were stomping games. And I guess that's the thing when we were talking about, do they have the mental, do they have the ability to rebound? Because they weren't tested all split. Unfortunately, when it came down to the finals, they weren't able to quite rebound here. Props to Yoshishi. I mean, I said it throughout the game, but Yoshishi to me, if we awarded MVPs to the losing team, it'd probably be Yoshishi.
Yeah, and again, there are points where it's unforced errors. There are points where teams do falter at the end line, at the finish line, but there's also the points where an enemy team just comes out as a little bit better, a little bit cleaner, a little bit well put together at that moment. I think that's what we saw here. Cloud Dragon Esports are your Unified Premier Junior League champions, taking it 3-0 over Goth Boy Clique. With that, we will go ahead and say goodbye for this week here, and that will be the end of the season of the spring split. But don't worry, there will be more UJL action next season. Of course, the summer split is currently open for applications, as well as all the rest of the leagues. So make sure to go check it out if your team feels like they can do it, and maybe if you want to play against some of these squads as well, you should go sign up for yourself. But with that, we will go ahead, close out the broadcast. My name is Orbital, with Random Minicaster on the broadcast and Domcast on the production. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a fantastic evening.